Hello, welcome back. It is week 8 of the REL 1 and 2A div review, div preview, power hour, exploration, SteakDora, something, event, extravaganza.
This week. Yeah. Definitely less smooth.
Meh. I didn't have something pre-planned, I just sort of made it up.
Boo. Boo.
Yeah. It is week 8.
Now putrescent. I can't talk. Whatever. It's close enough.
I don't know what that was supposed to be.
From The Princess Bride, there's the old lady heckler, and she starts listing the. Is it Queen or Princess? I can't remember. I think it's Queen.
Princess Buttercup?
Yeah, but she's being coordinated, and she's like, "You're the queen of nothing. You're like the queen of refuse. You're the queen of putrescence."
Yeah,
screaming.
I remember that now. Yeah, when she was like, "It's like your true love is still alive. Don't marry Prince Humperdinck." Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is week 8. We're going to take a look at a couple games. The first game is going to be between Highlord Salt and Zeazetta. Zeazetta, playoff contender. I think one of us picked him for playoff things.
I picked him as third, and you picked him as third. We both picked him.
Oh, so we both picked him. There we go. So he's a playoff contender coach, and we haven't watched him or Highlord Salt yet, so 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. And then in REL 2A, we're going to be taking a look at, what was it? Professor Chaos and Jimmy Burrito. Once again, players that we have predicted in various ways to make playoffs and players that we haven't watched games of yet. We'll see how they go. We haven't looked at them before. That's half the fun of this, is seeing the surprises. So who knows how they're going to go, but those are the reasons why we picked those. Little combination of haven't seen and playoff contention, although this is likely to shift to strictly playoff contention by the time we get to week 10. Because that's when we're getting close to playoffs.
And we only care about playoff teams.
Yep, the rest of you are not worth our time. No, that's not that. We don't really think that.
That's not strictly true. None of you are ever worth our time. We just humor you.
Yeah, that's true. None of you are worth any time.
You're all slime to me.
And I think that's the kind of the hype around REL 1 and 2, or 1 and 2 from both, or all 3 regions, is that the sort of big divisions with the big teams and the big playoff chances and the lots of tickets. So that's kind of the focus there. Just being in 1 and 2 is a pretty big accomplishment, regardless of whether you make playoffs or not. They are the higher divisions after all. Shall we go into the game then?
Yeah, we predicted, just as a statement before we get in, we predicted that I predicted the Chaos would win, and you predicted the Nurgle.
Yep, that's another reason why we picked this one, is potential divisive pick. Well, it is a divisive pick, it's not potentially one.
Yep. A lot of tentacles, not doing a whole lot this game. But let's see what we got.
My big thing was that it's a bash mirror. In a bash mirror, you'll often see, sometimes regen and foul appearance can push things ever so slightly in favor of the Nurgle, but really it depended on who got the Kaz dice, who got to go first. Basically, is a pretty big deal in these types of matchups. So we'll see how that goes. Are you ready to start?
Yep. And
yours, Professor Chaos.
Yeah, we're watching yours. Do you need me to countdown?
Yep. 3, 2, 1, play. Need to make sure I get some skills up here.
Have we watched you yet?
Nope.
I thought we didn't watch you.
No, we didn't.
It's me again.
Not this season.
Oh, week 1? Whatever. Your team is different now.
Week 1. We didn't watch matches in week 1. Did we?
Against Chorfs. I don't know. It's all a little fuzzy at this stage.
Too late now.
So, Zeazetta did win the toss, which is a big deal in this matchup, of course.
It is, yeah.
Being on the receiving end of punching first is a huge deal. Doesn't look like there was much in the way of inducements. Maybe an induced spare Rotter. I see Boris Rotterdang, which is a very appropriate Rotter name. Has Loner.
There's 2 Loners.
There is a bench. Yeah, so I think he just picked up 2 Loner Rotters to foul /
B armor pieces. Maybe I'm misremembering week 1 then. We could switch to a different game if we come up with one faster, but...
No, I think that was we're into playoff contention at that point, and we haven't watched Jimmy Burrito yet.
Yeah, that's true. Oops. Well, our fault for messing that up. Oh well.
I blame you.
We were going to have to repeat coaches eventually.
First hit coming in is a muddy blow hit.
Nothing.
Get none.
Attempt number 2.
Well, mighty blow this time. Will it get the job done?
Nope.
Nope.
And number 3? Nope. Excellent. That's exactly how you want the line blocks to go as the Nurgle here. It's basically as good as you could have asked for, unless this one is just dead. No, not dead, but good enough. And who are we blitzing, if anything? I would assume something.
Probably the Wrestle Tackle Pestigore, which is left hanging out here. I don't love this.
Yeah, this setup is a little interesting.
It exposes your non-foul appearance strength 3 pieces to blitzes, and I think
worked out.
That can definitely backfire, especially because the wrestle piece is very vulnerable to the Juggernaut of Ipsos.
Yeah, that's certainly interesting.
Ooh, 1 and 9 on the pickup. Ooh, and bounces to... Okay, that's safe because you're against Nurgle, but would be real bad against elves.
Yeah, it turns out A, Nurgle are slow, and B, they just don't really pick up the ball very well.
Instantly bases up Chax here, which
especially since they're ball carriers on the side of the field.
Oh, and the beast is stupid. I don't know where the beast was going, but he's stupid.
As is the life for most beasts.
Oh, okay. We're taking a blitz on Ipsos, it looks like.
Yep. I wouldn't be very surprised if we don't. We've got our own Mighty Blow Claw Juggernaut, but we're using the Mighty Blow Claw.
It does require you to base up. Oh, and we re-roll, and we do find a knockdown on the re-roll.
Greed reroll, which I mean is good. That's the scariest player on the team in this bash matchup, really.
Does not have the piling on to follow up, though, so that is only a stun and leaves...
I would have considered doing that with Scrotus, but I guess you don't get SPP that way. It depends on whether you're focused more on winning or SPP, and I feel like Highlord Salt may be a little bit more on the SPP side right now, considering his place on the table.
He also stood up these Rotters, which I don't necessarily agree with. Ooh, foul appearance there is a big deal. Nurgle... doing Nurgle thing.
Foul appearance is the best. I haven't had it work in like 2 games, but it's the best.
Okay, well, it worked once. Will it work again on the Blitz? It will not. And down goes Lord Herbestus. Ooh, and a pylon. Getting the business.
Are all the Rotters tied up? No, they're yes, they are. So it's relatively safe. And also, you'd find a badly hurt out of it. It regens, but it is a Nurgle warrior removed from the field, which is certainly a start.
It's not trivial, certainly.
It is a start.
Will you pick up the ball this time? Yep.
There we go. You did it.
You can take a 1-die against this wrestle piece, which I think is sensible.
Yep.
Well, and is rewarded with a knockdown. This is a niggled piece. No break. Does get his block beast off of
the Claw Mighty Blow.
And does make it very hard. Not very hard.
Just gonna slam a guard in there.
Yeah, but it does mean now that the there's another Chaos Warrior exposed, or Nurgle Warrior, I should say. Beast going to tie up these 2 Chaos Warriors. Not that he does it terribly effectively. Oh, bringing in an extra guard helps a bit. The Chaos do lack for guard somewhat. Oh, never mind. They just got 1 freedom.
There you go. Have a guard.
Oh, but we are going to come in for a 2-die on this Garter, and we're going to get him down from Scrotus. Does not follow up for the piling on. Does not want to risk it.
I feel like I probably would have.
That's why you don't have a killer.
I do have a killer. I have 2. I have 3. One of them isn't piling on, though.
Are you still undefeated?
I'm undefeated. I've tied twice, but I'm undefeated. Although I've lost 2 developed Nurgle Warriors in the last 3 games, so 2 rookies really sucks.
This is where I pretend to...
Hepatitis Beedrill died. The only original player left on the team. The block.
No!
Yep.
I love him.
The Blodge Farm Guard Nurgle Warrior. Yeah. Every game that he plays, he got armor broken and KO'd on literally the first block he ever took, any game. Except that happened again. The very first time he was ever hit in the game against NPA was a knockdown into dead, failed regen.
2 risky dodges coming out here from Zeazetta. He's in a bit of trouble here. The Nurgle have been applying pressure, and foul appearance has been doing some work. Nurgle proving why they're more reliable than Chaos.
Yeah, there's a lot of the Nurgle are going to get a decent number of hits here, but they're not necessarily in a good position to do anything about the ball.
This is a claw palm hit on Ipsos. Doesn't get anything.
No.
Oh, yep, that's a thing.
Oh, that is a thing. There we go.
I think we're gonna see the apple here. Oh, a 67 into
a 1, a 2.
Well, an 11 technically.
1 plus 1.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That was
almost as bad as it can be into as good as it can be. Not bad.
Elects to free up the beast here. Where's this beast going?
Somewhere more useful than just stuck on a. Nope.
Nope.
Never mind.
Nope.
You're like a second ahead.
As always. It's because you're hosting.
Likely, yes.
That's still a very... Never mind.
He's just doing it last to try to get him out of surfing position and still relevant.
So we're going to see some hits back for the Chaos. The Nurgle definitely committed really hard here to...
It's not really...
basing up players so that he could get that hit on Ipsos, so now he's going to take a ton of hits in return.
Well, as long as you win the bash fight, I mean, that's not terrible.
Well, and it's about to get hard. He's going to take several hits here.
We'll see.
Foul appearance is a thing.
Banking on foul appearance a little bit. But if it works, you're in such a good position. If it doesn't work, things might be bad. We'll see how it goes.
This is also a lot of stuns coming in for the...
yeah.
For the Chaos. Got a non-Mighty Blow Claw hit here. Of course it breaks. Oh, okay.
You're ahead.
Cool.
Oh, well, Queefius Tripulips is dead.
That was a casual 10 into 10 into 68.
I know that feeling. That happened to me in my last game against Rats. My Blodge Firm Nurgle Warrior got killed.
Failed regen on the hero of the team, Queefius Tripulips, who got block guard in an incredibly short amount. Only to casually die to a non-Mighty Blow.
I know that feels.
Wow, that's a good turn for Zeazetta.
That was a big turn, yeah.
Yeah, Nurgle doing a lot of basing up and getting punished real hard for it.
Yep. I mean, I understand what they were going for. They're trying to get rid of the serious threats on the Chaos team, because really,
now
whoever wins the punchy game wins this game. And
this was a that not rolling the 1 die skull was a you level of the rerolls are coming out of my pockets. It's turn 4. You've got 3 rerolls. Probably could have committed one there.
What if he double skulls on every for first block for the next 4 rounds?
It's more likely he ends the half with 2 rerolls than your thing.
Yeah, but my thing could happen, and that was a totally irrelevant block.
It was, but I mean, it does free up a wrestler.
Oh no, a wrestler that is out of range of anybody relevant.
Salt, rage rerolling a hit on a garter, and then throwing a GFI with his killer afterwards to get out of basing range. I think that was a...
Yeah, and he's pretty...
That was some Highlord Salt.
He's pretty, he committed really hard to that one side and stayed over there after rerolling things, and now Zeazetta is just going to walk down the left side. Although currently... Oh, that's not good.
On the beast. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, it looks like a regen, though.
It is a regen, but it's still a beast out for a half. That's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 players down for the Nurgle right now.
Yeah, I would say this is a half that is finished.
Nurgle's best... Well, that works. I mean, I would have considered rerolling that, maybe. Because right now, we have a... Oh, no, you can put tentacles on him. Never mind. I was going to say, because right now we got a 3+ into just 2 dying the ball.
You can 3+ it, yeah. You can also blitz him if you really wanted to, but...
I think I would have blitzed him.
Well, he's going after the Nurgle Warriors. I think sensibly, as they are more problematic, and you get a palm hit on one right now.
That's true. But, I mean, if I were...
rewarded... Well, not rewarded either, just kind of
Hey, foul appearance.
That's a big deal, because now this is a free claw palm hit, or claw mighty blow hit on Amadeus.
I feel like I would have taken the 4+3+ to try and sack the ball.
Or not. He elects to go in with Scrotus instead. 3rd greed reroll.
Well, we're just aiming at each other's important players and seeing who can get the removals, which is certainly a valid strategy in some ways. And you just kind of have to
see a pile on here. Yep.
Yeah. That's an injury, and the Apo is gone. That's good.
Oh yeah, the apple is gone. Is it a perm? Ooh, it is.
It is.
That's a dead player.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? In this matchup, like one way you can play is to actually aim at the ball. Another way you can play is to try to remove your opponent's like good players. Because if you do, then your players are fine, and then you'll have an easy time scoring or stopping them from scoring, etc. So it looks like you're seeing a lot of that in this match, where they're focusing on each other's Nurgle warriors, Chaos warriors, killer players, that kind of thing. And it is currently working out for Zeazetta, but it's you know, Highlord Assault is not getting nothing here. That's another injury.
It's a rotter.
That's what
Low
they're
hit
for.
chance 2 is... Yeah, he's supposed to die.
Pretty much.
I mean, so far Zeazetta is on the receiving end of the more serious damage, certainly.
Well, we did have
having a dead killer and a nearly dead...
Well, the killer's
level
fine.
5 Chaos Warrior.
Chaos Warriors are easier to level than Nurgle Warriors. That block guard Nurgle Warrior is going to take forever to come back.
It's not that much easier, though.
It is. Agi 3 and Movement 5 is a huge difference compared to Agi 2 and Movement 4.
It's still, like, not trivial. Like, you know, you're still not going to take any blocks with them in the same way that you won't... Like, you don't want to do anything with them. You'll basically only hand off in, like, games where you're just utterly winning. And how many games are you utterly winning in Div 1?
Well, I mean, it's a 3+ catch. If you have a reroll, people are pretty likely to try that on, like, turn 15. Whereas I'm not going to try that on a Nurgle Warrior.
Yeah, it's fair. So Zeazetta in, like, complete control of this game.
Right now,
He can hand off to Mufagors to level him, which I think would be a good call, as that would give him Frenzy.
Moof.
Oh, Claw Mighty Blow, piling on hit on one of his warriors.
It's a KO. Piles on the KO.
I was like, I feel like Salt is in pile on KO mode.
Hey, it worked out.
Did it ever? Is it dead?
Nope.
I haven't seen the injury screen yet.
It is a badly hurt. He's fine, but it is another strength 4 removed when you've had 2 removed yourself. That's actually pretty handy.
Oh, hey, look, a removal. I would consider fouling Scrotus. You can get a foul with a block beast, I think, right?
You can. You have to block away Testy's moldy hair first.
Well, he's gonna blitz. I think he's gonna blitz. Yeah, looks like he's setting up for a foul. I like that.
Yeah, you just block Testy's moldy hair. Either he wrestles or doesn't.
Wrestle is fine because he's still gonna be out of range of the ball, so no big deal there.
No,
you
do your blitz and then you give him a stomp.
Foul. If that had been a foul appearance, I would have rerolled it.
Ooh, man, the injuries are serious here.
Claw Mighty Blow firing off today for both people, though mostly.
Another regen failing that's what, 3?
Ooh, throwing a GFI there just to protect the killer.
Do the handoff if we're gonna do that. Yep.
He needs a reroll.
Gotta reroll that.
Oh fuck, that sucks.
No foul, but I think it was I think that was still correct. The right way to give that a go.
The ordering there was right because now you only have one turn to try to pick up the ball. So like you wouldn't throw. Oh, we're gonna see a 2-die blitz onto Tenagor as the star player, and it's Pow.
Crunch.
Cringing.
He's okay.
Oh, doesn't 3+ dodge Scrotus out? I think we're gonna see Scrotus get fouled again.
Over scoring?
Oh, right, turn 8. Never mind.
I mean,
my bloodlust got the better of me.
It's not unreasonable if you feel like it'll put you in a good spot, but I don't think it will because he's gonna get players. He's gonna be back up to 11 players.
Is he gonna try to 3-die a Nurgle Warrior? Is that what he's doing here?
4, 5, 6. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, because you don't want to risk losing a reroll to the Dub Skull. Ooh.
I mean, you can. You might as well take it. There's no reason not to do this.
Regen.
The regen is that is kind of what I said when we were predicting these. If regen works, the Nurgle are probably going to win the bash matchup. If regen doesn't, they probably won't.
Makes the pickup. No touchdown this half.
That's actually not good.
That's...
In a brilliant nugget of wisdom from Steakmittens, not scoring is not good. There's a lot of damage that occurred, and it was on good players, but we are going to be back up to close to 11 because of there were 2 regens.
He's at 11, actually. He got 2 regens, and he got... Or no, only 1 regen?
Both KOs came back. There was a Nurgle Warrior and the Beast, right?
No, I think all the Nurgle Warriors have stayed out. Or... Maybe you're right.
I think there's
But
one.
He's
Lord
failed,
Herpestus. But
failed 4 regen so far. And he's succeeded at 2, I think.
It's actually, no, it's worse than I thought. He's at 9, and he only has 1 Nurgle warrior. This is pretty good for Zeazetta, even though he didn't score there.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think I'm good. I was just saying, he even though he didn't score there, it's not really the end of the world, because there's only, like, 1 Nurgle warrior and the beast left to deal with, really.
It is hard punish for a failed... for a 181, yeah.
But I think the position that Zeazetta was in, that was probably fine. Like, you're unlikely to.
Yeah, it was a reasonable choice, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be super technical about it, like it's strictly not correct if your only goal is scoring touchdowns, but it's not your only goal playing Blood Bowl. So
let's see if Zeazetta can survive the line blocks as well. Nope.
Would have been really good for his future matches to get a level on that movement 7 Beastman, so he was going for it.
Yeah, and he was in a dominant position, and literally only a 1 in 81 caused him to fail, and, 1 in 81s don't happen very often.
Is it a 1 in 81?
Yes, because it's a 1 in 9 into a 1 in 9. You have a stats degree.
What was he? He was just trying to pick up the ball.
Yeah, but
which is a 1 in 9.
He tried to hand off the turn before, which is a 1 in 9, and then he tried to pick up the ball the next turn, which is
Oh, the chances of both failing. Yeah.
Oh, the beast really stupided again.
Really, it's a pretty stupid beast.
It is a pretty stupid beast.
Yeah, it's a pretty serious game in terms of injuries. But Chaos versus Nurgle, you expect much else?
I love that it's the Chorf saying, wow, this is a bloody game.
Yeah. Yeah, he was punished pretty hard for it in Sisticide, but that's unfortunate. Sometimes dice rolls happen. That's a KO.
So we're now 2 for 2 on removals for these line blocks.
It's kind of what the Nurgle need, really, but I don't know if it's enough yet.
It's not, no, because like the player, it's not just that the player disadvantage is a big thing. It's the fact that the players they're missing are the crucial one.
Well, I mean,
the Nurgle warriors.
Chaos now has 2 Chaos Warriors. Nurgle has a Nurgle Warrior and a Beast. But those Chaos Warriors are probably better.
Yeah, and Beasts are incredibly better than Nurgle Warriors. Or than Rotters, I should say.
Yes, not this one, though. He keeps really stupiding.
Ooh. I meant Beastmen, not Beast of Nurgle. Like, Chaos linos are way better than
Rotters,
Nurgle line. Which is why Nurgle usually wins the matchup, weirdly enough, but that's getting into like minor.
That's a KO on that's a
brave place to put that player.
It is, yes. I hope you do something to make that harder.
I don't think there's anything you can do to stop the beast from moving over and giving you a 2-die.
Well, you already have a 2-die just by blitzing from the floor with Scrotus.
No, because there's a guard there.
Oh, you're ahead. There wasn't a guard there yet, and I was going to say you've got to do something about that. So you hadn't yet. Yeah, and we see this exact thing.
Hey, look, it's that thing we said, but I mean, you can't make this ball safe. He's just gonna have to potato and blodge
and pray. Oh, going for the Chaos Warrior instead of the killer.
I mean, they're both Claw Mighty Blow, I suppose.
That's true. Although one is piling on, one is strength. It depends on how you feel, I guess. That's a little brave, maybe. It worked, but I have a strong feeling that we're going to see that player fouled. It might not actually be that easy to do, but...
Well, you're going to get your beast, Claw Mighty Blow, piling on.
Nope, we're going after the ball, which is, certainly a good choice. You can do both, yeah.
But there's a Claw Mighty Blow on the beast.
And on the ball.
You have to free up enough players, though. Piles on. I mean, I guess you want to remove that player. Yeah, that makes sense.
It does, but you're also not actually doing anything about the ball. I feel like I wouldn't have... well, I don't know. You didn't break armor, so it's actually kind of a hard choice.
Alright, so he could ignore the ball, even with the Blodge Agi 4 Fend piece, to get a 1-die on... Okay, he's gonna...
No, he does the smart thing and picks up the ball.
Do you red die the beast, though? So now there is literally no... Oh, no, never mind. There's still a 2-die. There's still a 2-die from... Oh, no assist foul on Scrotus.
It works.
What the fuck? It's a 10 into an 11. I mean, it regened, but...
That's pretty unlucky. Or lucky, depending on what perspective you're looking at it from.
No, I mean, like, it is unlucky, definitely. That was an incredibly unlikely result.
Yeah, I feel like I would have gone for the hit on the beast, but...
So now we get a 2+2+2 die.
1/2+, 1/2+, 2 die, rerolled into another push. Push
into push skull. The classic.
Yep, I know the feeling. And then a failed dodge.
Snakes? No, wait, no, I thought that was the dodge out from the...
Oh, that was just a dodge out with the wrestle tackle because you don't really have much else you can do at this point.
Oh, so he didn't get to hit the killer because he did that first.
Nope. But you also would... I think you'd rather... You'd have to get somebody to the beast if you didn't want to roll the 4+ really stupid. And I think you'd rather just not roll the really stupid and have tentacles and like strength 5 there rather than risk a 4+ just to get a mighty blow hit on the armor 8 killer.
Yeah. Oh, I know you just needed a stun, bro, but it was unlikely. Okay.
Oh, well, the beast is dead. Good lord, this game. I mean, he regened. Okay. He got better, but
like it was a 9+2 die. Your odds of success were low, to say the least. Oh, casual pow on the... Oh, and a break. All right.
All right. Calm down. Just calm down, Zeazetta. Calm down. This is getting a little silly. Can you? No.
Not this turn. No. Elects not to follow up there.
I don't know what this does.
It makes Highlord Salt feel better.
Oh, you got a KO. His
wrestle tackler piece away from...
I mean, his wrestle tackle piece was free. Like, he had no need to do that. But I guess it was his only real blitz target, I suppose.
Hey, look, there's this brave rotter that is definitely going to get casually 3-died before...
I think it was his only target that he had without having to roll GFIs or dodges.
Alright, so...
it seems that way. It certainly seems that both teams have no AV, but...
I think we're going to see some good old 3-dies before the score here. You need 2-die?
You just need 2 assists to 3-die the rotter. No.
This is... Zeazetta, that's a bit wrong. I think you could have pushed him onto the other guy for another block if you did this at a different...
You could have.
You could have pushed him onto the strength 4.
You also could have made it a 3-die if you cared a lot, but depends on what you want there, I guess.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Doesn't matter. KO. Piles on the KO because greed is good. And there you go. Rewarded. Good lord. I mean, I guess the greed resulting in good things here is making up for the greed resulting in bad things in the first half.
Fouling with his killer.
You are ahead.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just getting to the rotter getting blocked right now.
I don't know how I got so far ahead of you.
It's a good question. I probably didn't skip something as fast. Here's the killer foul. Stomp. Well, if he goes off, at least he's safe.
I mean, I don't think you're really concerned with how safe your players are.
No, but I mean, the way this game is going, at this point, you're just not...
Gosh, might Sauce foul this.
Really? I like how, man, the turn, like, didn't even, like... just instant. What I was trying to say is that how this game is going right now as Zeazetta, you're not doing anything other than scoring on turn 16, and there's almost nothing that the Nurgle can do to stop you from that, so you're just going to sit there and just try to pitch clear him.
You're just going to farm rotters for SPP.
Yeah, and foul, the only threats there are. You might as well.
Wanted one. Sad to see that bell. You want like him to stick around so you can get some more...
Here comes another foul. This one is slightly improved. But I mean, yeah, you're going to at this point. This game is just going to be fouls until sign off. This game is just going to be
6 on a 7+.
This game is going to be fouls until one side has no players, whether that be from a million send-offs or from fouls working. Those are the only 2 outcomes at this point.
Oh, we're gonna see a foul coming in the killer, I think. Yep.
Yep.
Does not get a full run up, so this will not kill the player.
No, you need to get that whole run up. Make sure those boots have a good amount of momentum behind them.
God damn.
Oh, they just the number of removals this game is ridiculous. Oh, send off. Okay. Well, there are now 2 Nurgle players, 4 Chaos players.
Mutual pitch clear.
And then another foul. Send off. I just want to see him. I just want to see the guy on the floor passively remove like 4 people. Oh.
Oh, he was dead.
He was dead, but he regened. He got better. That's like that's 3 deaths this game. Just
This would have
2
been
of them
a
are
real
regen.
bloody game without regen. It must be sad.
There'd be 3 dead players if regen wasn't a thing. 1 dice skull. Oh, pow. 2 extremes. 1 and a 6. Run! Scoring threat, I guess.
No.
Hey,
I mean, yes, clearly a scoring threat.
he is a scoring threat. He just doesn't have a retrieval threat.
Do GFIs. Go big or go home. I want you to mutually pitch clear each other, and this is
I don't think it's possible at this point.
nice. Double GFIs to get the mark.
And then we're going to see a touchdown, and that'll be that game 1-0 with both teams basically removing each other.
That was a really quick game, guys. We got through that replay in about 20 minutes.
Well, it turns out when there just aren't players to move, it goes fast. And there's very likely a lot more thinking in between those turns. We're just watching it with all that removed because casting from replays.
Yeah, so like on the one hand, Sauce got incredibly unlucky. At least on some things.
Yes.
On the other, he got incredibly lucky. Oh, and the AV bust gets the MVP. Oh no, never mind. That was just about later. I lied.
Yeah, having to roll 9 regen rolls is terrifying. Because
I'm just saying,
oh god,
Boris
that's so many injuries.
Rotterdang, my favorite Rotter name, got MVP, and Sauce didn't hire him, which is why he's going to continue to lose. That's
Why would you hire a rotter?
His name is Boris Rotterdang.
I mean, you can.
He's a dang rotter, Ben. It's in his name.
I see.
That was a man born to be a rotter.
All right. Well, let's pull up. That was that game. Let's pull up the title, and then we'll go look at the game from 2.
Yeah, boy.
Why can't I find it? Oh, there it is. It's at the top.
The green skin brawlers versus thick, rich, and creamy.
Just how I like it.
Feel Tristan sighing behind me. Will we spot your mistake?
Who knows? Let's find out. Probably not, because I'm terrible.
So we predicted that Jimmy Burrito would win this, even though I predicted Professor Chaos would win.
I need to tighten that nut on my
would get the
mic arm.
challenger ticket.
Keeps falling
Because-
over.
I like betting against myself.
Yep. Man, the flesh golem with the 3D glasses is so good. I love that model.
It's great. I guess I can skip to the kickoff.
Let's see where this coin flip ends up.
This is a medium important one. It's not as important as the last game, but it is still not trivial.
Yeah, it's these are 2 games. We both have predicted Jimmy Burrito to go to playoffs, and you have predicted Professor Chaos to go to playoffs. So these are teams that are certainly in contention. Professor Chaos is the top half of the table last week. Jimmy Burrito was in a playoff spot last week, I believe. So both of these teams are trying to win here in order to remain in contention or to like push further up the table. I am paused at setup if you're good to go.
I am indeed.
3,
It looks like
2, 1, play.
It looks like Jimmy Burrito chose to receive a sensible option in a bash matchup.
Yep.
Oh, it's replaying the coin flip for some reason.
No, sometimes it does that. Well, I'll be ahead. You'll catch up eventually.
I always do. It's true. This Necro team has a non-trivial amount of
Niggles?
Or three, actually.
Yeah, they're pretty big targets, certainly.
There's a wolf, a white, and 2 whites that are niggled. Or no, a white and a flesh golem.
Well, we'll see. The big things for the Necro here, we're going to be able to tie up, if we're able to tie up players with the flesh golems, if the zombies are able to do their thing by just marking up black orcs, basically, because the black orcs aren't going to dodge away, and then utilizing their speed advantage to get things done while headhunting with werewolves. We shall see, because they're going to lose if they get into a straight up fight, because that's how this orc team is built. It's block guard everywhere. It's a solid orc team for that kind of gameplay. So if they try to get into the fight, they're not going to win.
Interesting setup from Jimmy. I think I might have set up to do some claw hits on the line where the orcs did not place any players behind as frenzy traps. It does mean that, well, I guess that exposes your players to a blitz because the black orcs are so close that you can't screen off your wolves. But
nope, it's a little risky. If
it doesn't mean you're not going to get a claw hit here on the line. And based on that positioning, he now can't claw hit this guy.
Surehand's doing a thing there.
You're ahead of me, but that's fine, I guess.
Hey, here comes the dirty player. That's what they're for. And fouling is stun, but like with the dirty player and the claw are the only ways that you're going to really get removals in this matchup. And you're not doing anything with the claw this turn, so and you had a reasonable dirty player. You might as well give it a shot.
Why did he tie? Why did he? He's giving away a hit here on this zombie. I mean, he didn't need to give this away. Orcs playing the orc game, which is click player, click opposing player. If you can block, if not, walk to them.
He's probably gonna. Well, the orcs do need to be careful here, and we're seeing that. I was gonna say they can't. There is a gap on the right side that they could try to utilize with only that real one werewolf, and they could block off most of the team from that werewolf. However, that's kind of what Jimmy wants, because then he's just gonna run the ghoul and the other werewolf to the other side, and then the orcs are kind of screwed. The orcs not falling for that and making sure that they actually stay spread out here and not commit overly hard to one side or the other.
Yep, and they picked a good blitz target. The blockless guard zombie is an excellent target in this matchup.
Yeah, guard is a big thing that they're going to want to try to remove.
I think we're going to see some sort of a hit come in on Ash Hag Smash Throat. Nope. This is a big committal for Necro. Holy shit. We are going in big, friends. Re-rolling for a hit on an armor 9 piece just because it's mighty blow? I don't know about this, man. This is
I'll let you catch up a little.
It's real in your face.
Yeah, that was pretty aggressive. If you were gonna commit to like piling on, maybe I would consider that. But you're gonna take a couple hits in response, and you used a reroll, and it didn't really accomplish you anything there.
You're gonna take a non-mighty blow hit on your Blodge Firm White, which isn't bad.
I do not like the reroll either.
I don't love it. Yeah, I mean, I know he didn't want the return hit, but it was still
He's gonna get return hit anyway. There was a black orc there.
Yeah, but it's yeah, it's true. I think he meant from on the Blodge Firm Guard.
Oh, I see.
POWs coming in. Will he get a POW on the important dice? He can actually 3-die this, which makes it a 44% at least.
He does.
Yeah,
make it a 3-die and a POW.
No breaks though, so not punished yet.
Pro failures, however, Juggernaut is showing why it's such a good skill right there, because otherwise you'd have 3 players stuck up in that one flesh golem, which is his entire job.
Line orc for the assist here. He could have fouled. He could have gotten a 3+ foul on
the white
Monterey Jack. Yeah, that would have been a good foul.
probably.
Still a good position for the Orcs. The Necro
Especially
have
since you have a bench.
Necro have overcommitted and are being punished for it. You can't get into the bash game versus
most
Orcs.
bash teams.
They're way better at it than you are. I did the exact same thing against Nurgle with my clan team the other week and met similar results. It turns out you just can't stand and fight. Though that block zombie is being an absolute hero over here.
No, Necro are kind of the they're a hybrid team, quote, as it were. I mean, I like to think of them as like a speed team, I guess, sort of, but they're a hybrid team. You can bash stuff, but you have to be surgical about it. You can't just get into a bash fight with a bash team because it's not going to go well.
We're going to get a tackle hit here on this guy, but we're only rolling pushes this. It's been established.
Only pushes.
Wow. Yeah, that was a lot of blocks given away to only get pushed.
Yeah, not punished for that.
I think we're going to see Morknast blitz the Count Rockford III, and then maybe not push forward as a threat because he's definitely just going to get blitzed by a wolf if he does that. But
no, I just like the sort of flying V of Orcs he's got going on there. Like, we're not going to play I'm going to go after the ball game because he knows what's going to happen, and that's the Necro are just going to run away, and then you're left with exposed Orcs. He's just keeping all his Orcs together in a big old line.
He's doing so much work.
Yeah, putting all his Orcs in just a big line and being like, come on, come fight me. Either like commit and come fight me or try to run past me and then let me start punching everyone else to death.
Yeah, and Necro getting a turn of hitting back for once with all that failure last turn.
Yeah, we're going to get a couple hits in here, certainly. Can we get a good claw hit from a wolf yet? I don't think so, so we're going to go with a white.
You could get a good hit on Mordar.
Where is Mordar?
It's the guard blitzer down here.
You
would just need to swing around one wolf and then swing around another, but you'd be exposed to Soruk.
I don't know if you have a good way of protecting the ball.
Yeah, you don't.
Well,
Zombie finally goes down, and Turalina, the firstborn, is KO'd.
Sure is. Orcs beginning to creep their advantage into a bigger one.
Corbin Dallas, the AV7 zombie, is also KO'd.
Well, that's a good start for the Orcs. They're pretty pleased with that.
Follows up onto the Claw Mighty Blow Wolf. I have a sneaking suspicion we might blitz. Neither of Jimmy's wolves. Here come the POWs this turn. Yeah. Oh, we're going in with the pro piece because it's piling on. I guess you're going to follow this up and pile on.
Oh, I would. That wolf is like the one thing you're scared of in this matchup. Boom. Put that orc butt right on that wolf. Alright,
I think we might see a foul come in on
I mean, you're gonna have to zombie dodge to do that, really, unless you want to foul with a wolf or your ball carrier.
Is there no free zombie? Where'd the dirty player got KO'd this turn, right? I
guess there are two zombies and they're both tied up.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So yeah, I like this. Getting in his face, putting on some pressure. Orc GFI, that's a definite mistake.
We've wasted a few of the Necro turns, and so they're down to 4 now, and so they've moved forward, so we can slam into them a bit.
The issue I have with this is, never mind. This is actually pretty okay. It's very hard for him to get a 2-die on the strength 5.
There is a gap in the middle here, but we don't have enough movement to really take a huge advantage of that.
There's nothing you can do to save you from Morknast just coming in and jacking up your steed.
I mean, you can surf the line orc. Not easily, though, I guess.
Count Rockford gonna come around and tie up question mark the strength 4 agi 4 blitzer. Brought in an assist he doesn't need. Might be looking to 3-die this. Mighty Blow hit on the Garter does take him out.
Oof.
The number of blocks the Necro are giving away starting to have an impact.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing the Necro could have changed here a little bit is giving away fewer blocks to the Orcs. Oh no.
Injury on the niggle.
Likely a regen, but that is a regen.
No animation means it's a regen, so.
But that is what are we ever going to do for casting if they fix that for Blood Bowl 3?
Let's deal with the Blood Bowl 3 problems as they come in, you know.
Yeah, giving away a lot of hits as the Necro are going to let the Orcs play to their strengths. And you don't necessarily want to give your opposing team the things that they want to do and make it easier for them.
Yeah, it is true that the piling on the wolf was greedy in the sense that it did take tackle off of the ball carrier, who is done.
Yeah, but the wolf is nice terrifying.
Though. Will he pile this one on instead of again putting tackle on his ball? No.
Please do not pile that on.
He got a KO. It's fine.
There you go. Tackle on the ball. Good call. Get another strength piece in there. Doesn't really change much about the ball carrier, but it makes the block. It's harder to block the tackle off, so your option kind of becomes now dodge off tackle rather than block the guy off.
A lot of pushes, unfortunately, for the Necro. This is a bad turn to be rolling. We're going to go forward and form a totally safe screen for the ball.
Oh, dodge is good.
Get a 6 on our dodge off tackle.
Oof. That's a 1.
Does not reroll.
I mean, there's not much else he was really gonna do, but you have 3 turns and 2 rerolls. Maybe consider that.
Here comes his mistake. Let's see it. Is it not just casually 2-die blitzing the ball somehow?
Where's the guard? Well, we can block off the flesh golem, and then we can put guard in, and then we can blitz with. Or we even have strength. We even have strength with the strength 4 edgy 4.
He's got to do it with a tackle piece.
We have a strength 4 tackle piece that can do it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 1 GFI, but I mean, I feel like you roll 1 GFI to 2-die tackle the ball carrier, unless I'm missing something. There's another tackle piece back there. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can go 2 without a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that is also a GFI. Oh, not getting the knockdown there is unfortunate.
Didn't take the surf. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be what we might call a mistake.
There could have potentially been a counter surf, I guess, but
sure, but it's on a guard blitzer versus the guy with the ball. Wow, red die double pow. All right.
Good start. Hey, not a double pow. It's a pow stumbles into a KO. Well, I mean, punished, I guess. There you go.
Yeah, I would have taken the surf. The counter surf on your worst blitzer. Oh, doesn't matter. Fails the 4.
Is also the counter surf is also kind of unlikely because there was guard next to it and it was only a zombie, right? The wolf and it's not like the flesh golems are going to dodge and the wolf is too far away. Yeah, and plus it's his only real ball carrier. Ghouls don't have regen. Yeah, probably worth doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say that, but I think that is honestly an easy mistake to make.
It is.
A lot of us just look at that and they're like, yeah, just hit the ball carrier. Just hit him. Why would you do anything else?
Yeah, oh no, I've done the same thing. It's pretty easy to do. It's like you're just so trained. Like, hey, try to sack the ball. The only thing is, there are some times when you want to be careful with that, because there are some times where the ball scattering out could be really bad, but this is not one of those times. You've got the other team pretty well controlled, and if you scatter it out, they're definitely not scoring, and if you're lucky, maybe you're scoring. And there's no situation in which the scatter out is bad, so you might as well give it a shot.
I don't even think he needs to get especially lucky to score here.
Nope.
Might have gone forward rather
than. We have a 3+ handoff, and then a 3+3+, or can we?
I guess he was worried about. No, I mean, I just would have gone forward
2, 3, 4,
and
5,
the flesh
6.
golem. Like, if he wants to take a red die,
yeah,
you could have made it so that you didn't have to do one of these 3+.
I think the handoff and then pass is the best way to do this, rather than.
That's the only option. Yeah.
Well, you could GFI and then pass, but I don't know the pass range is off by heart.
3+, easy game, easy life.
There you go. Boop. Still worked out. Why does the orc team have human cheerleaders? That's the real question.
Asking the important ones.
Why does Blood Bowl zoom in on the goblin loincloth whenever anything happens? That's also an important question.
5 KOs, it gets 3 of them back, alright.
But we go into the Orc drive up 1-0, and that's really bad for the Necro. I mean, the Orcs are just gonna, like, meat cage now and be like, come on, like, come fight me. I will just sit here and eventually win. Or you can slam into my lines, and then I will win because I'm Orcs and you are not Orcs.
Slam into my lines, daddy.
Yeah.
This is a hard game for the Orcs to lose. Like, the Necro can 2-turn because wolves are a thing. So you have to be careful about when you score, but even if you score...
You don't even need to score.
Well, you need to be careful not to turn over and let them counterscore for the draw, but yeah, like, the odds of you losing here are pretty low.
But I mean, you can, like, if you wanted to, you could pick up the ball, park yourself in a guard cage, and then just press end turn for 8 turns, and just say, come on, Necro, come fight me. And, like, unless they do something, you can just sit there. And then if they come try to fight you, suddenly you've got a strength advantage, you've got a block advantage, you've got a guard advantage, you've got an armor advantage, and you'll just win in the fight.
Yeah, so the one way you lose this game is...
by being not careful.
Not respecting the blitz, not respecting the opportunity for 1-9s.
Pretty much.
Which, gotta say, this setup does not protect against splits terribly well. It's not bad, but like having a player out on the wings might have been nice.
That's a rock.
Gets hit by a rock, but just on a lino, I think. Yeah, just the lino, the hero lineman who scored.
Even had the fame. That's an unfortunate kick, actually. I mean, you're a 1-9 away from... it's not likely, but if you fail the 1-9 and then you fail the 3-8, it could just scatter, like, onto the Necro side, and then suddenly the game changes. But it's not likely to happen. But it's possible. And those are the things you need to think about in Blood Bowl sometimes.
Well, 3-die works, though. We've got a Wrestle 2-die, and we've got a Blitz onto probably just this zombie.
Yeah, you can push him back into your lines and then pile on relatively safely without worrying of getting fouled. If you'd like. If you try to blitz anybody else, you're kind of exposing yourself some. Or you could even just not pile on. And that was a weird animation thing, but the Orcs have the ball.
Goes for the pickup before the blitz? Oh, I guess he's not blitzing.
Nope.
Would have covered up the ball before attempting the pickup, I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Wolves... Remember, the Wolves are stupid fast, and they're
not in range of the ball, but they could have been if it scattered up.
Yeah.
I mean, you would then be holding... like, on the best-case scenario there, you'd be then holding the ball unless you somehow passed it back to the Wolves. Another Wolf, but... Goes for the easy 2-die blitz here on a...
We're finally seeing a Wolf-like blitz, though. This is like the first one. This is
literally the first claw blitz on turn 9.
Yep.
Or not even blitz, just block, period.
Yep.
Does get an injury out of it, though.
That's why. That's what they're for. But you do have to be careful in headhunt, and, you know, Professor Chaos did a good job of making those, like, sideline players not available. Like, there wasn't any alone orc that the werewolves could take advantage of. They couldn't take advantage of a lonely orc. The orcs all stuck together in a pack.
Lonely orc. Every now and then. My song.
Good song.
Some free 2-dies here for the orcs to take.
Bonk.
Sometimes provolone is still alright.
Sometimes provolone is alright. I think provolone is pretty good in a lot of situations. Like sandwiches, provolone is a good sandwich cheese.
Nice mighty blow hit here on a zombie, giving you a stun.
I thought the cheese discussion was more important, but okay.
Well, I'm just gonna ignore you.
That happens a lot.
I think we're gonna see a tackle mighty blow blitz come in on Havarti makes you fart.
Although you do have to be careful. Yeah, I was gonna say you've got to be careful here because
oh, hey, look, GFI.
You have to reroll that. Your ball is exposed right now. I was gonna say you have to be careful here because the wolf has a 1-die. Like, very easily. So you did have to move that player first, but I think there was a way to make that a little bit better without having to roll the GFI, but...
Why do you keep GFI-ing, bro?
Orcs always fail GFIs. This is a thing we know about.
Nice pro. I honestly would have just left the player there as a frenzy trap. I don't think you needed to GFI.
No,
or you could have just followed up and piled on.
I think you could have set up one to the left as well, right? And then you wouldn't have had to roll a GFI on the lineman. But I don't remember. I wasn't really paying attention to the positions. But I think there's a way of doing this similar cage without having to roll a GFI
I think
there.
Some amount of turn planning would have done Professor Chaos some benefit. It felt like you were maybe just
play like Steakmittens. Just move one player at a time. That's how I play. Yeah. It works out fine. I haven't lost a game yet this season. That's not true. I don't always play that.
Claw Mighty Blow Wolf not getting anything out of the palm this time. Don't like all this basing. He's just giving away free 2-die hits on these zombies.
In terms of record, I think so, but not in terms of team. In terms of record this season, anyway.
Ooh, sometimes Provolone going down.
There are many Nurgle players with better teams than mine, but...
Div 1 is an excellent source of Nurgle teams that are better than yours. You don't have any unfair players, right?
Well, no, and I also have one guard now because they keep dying.
You should stop letting your guard die.
Well, I mean, when I'm doing things like having a blodge firm guard player in a place where he gets, is the blitz target, and then he gets knocked down, armor broken on block 1 into death, failed regen. There's not really a whole lot I can do.
Look, Professor Chaos, I'm just saying, you failed 2 out of 3 GFIs last turn, and you just made 2 of them just so you could hit a... What are you even doing with your life?
No, I think the big thing for me is just that my team was very, very well suited to other bash teams, and my first 5 weeks were all bash teams. And then you can see that in the record, right? Like, I've got 5 wins against 5 bash teams, and then 2 ties against 2 agi teams. Like, my team was just meant for bash teams. Yeah. It's more because of how the schedule was than anything else, I think.
Good turn for the Orcs. They remove a wolf for the moment. They removed a flesh golem. Not a good one, but they removed one permanently.
I think you might say that my beast is a little unfair because he's got block, but I mean, there's a lot of block big guys lying around, and he's also niggled, so that kind of makes up for that.
Yeah, he's gonna die. Oh, that's brave. Putting your ball carrier on.
Wolf.
Jump up is a skill, and it looks like maybe... Forgot about it. Piling on there is... I mean, I guess just to keep him safe, but that does expose this ghoul to a casual 2-die Mighty Blow Tackle piling on hit.
Yeah, that's not necessarily good. I think there's been maybe like a little bit too much aggression from Professor Chaos this half. I mean, like, he's still in a really good position. It doesn't really matter very much. But there's been I
think he's been fine, honestly.
But like, he didn't need, like I was saying at the start of this half, like, all you have to do is just defend for 8 turns and you win. And like doing things like rolling GFIs to get a couple extra hits are like potentially a little greedy.
Yeah, but
you don't really need to.
It reduces the odds of attrition hitting your team.
That's very true. But you don't like. I think it's something I see pretty frequently. Like, you don't need to be, just because like it's your drive. You don't need to be super like charge up the field.
Thinks about completing his cage for a minute, instead elects to foul the wolf.
It doesn't really matter.
Technically not safe, but strength 5 is on the corner here with guard supporting it, so the odds of him getting this off are...
Well, I mean, you can 1-die the ball carrier with a 4+2+2+, right? Well, he failed the 2+, so it doesn't matter. And he also didn't try the blitz.
What was the 4+?
If he cut the corner.
Oh, he had to cut the corner to blitz, yeah.
He could cut the corner with the zombie.
I mean, it turns out he can just do it with oh, never mind. He needed that to be a push, I think. He just doesn't have enough players. Like, you can break into this cage in a variety of ways, but he doesn't have enough players to actually...
Yeah, that is a problem.
Get some good 1-dies, though.
The knockdowns and stuns are actually kind of annoying. The Orcs aren't going to have a whole lot of hit back while also remaining safe. Like, they can either, like, try to get themselves safe here or go forward, and they can't really do both. But that's fine, because you don't really care about going forward that much right now.
I love that Orc linemen have the same dash animations as the Blitzers. They just don't have the claws, so it looks like they're just kind of like doing this weird like slam. I wonder if we're gonna pile on the Welf.
Let's find out. Yep.
Got a KO out of it too.
That's really handy.
Yeah, I agree.
That is both wolves not on the pitch, so the orcs are especially pleased with how safe they can feel right about now. Yeah, I was going to say, you want to make sure you move that ball carrier away from that zombie. At this point, I feel like the Necro are going to zombie click ball and pray, and even if it's an uphill. We don't have a good hit on the ball for the Necro here. So they're going to take the easy 2-die and get nothing out of it. Are they going to blitz a Blackrock? I mean, no, they're going to hit the line and then try to mark up the ball, I suppose. This is an armor break. This is actually really good. I don't think you can afford to pile on there, but it not being an armor break is not great because he's just going to get blitzed by the piling on guy, likely.
Sometimes AV9 is AV9, you know?
Not in my experience, but sometimes, yes.
Well, I mean, this actually makes it harder because he's now got to create an anti-assist here, and there are no free orcs.
Nope.
Never mind. You could just kill that orc. That works. Or that zombie. Ooh, Dub Skull. That's spicy.
Oh, you're ahead, but... I mean, I don't know how you got so ahead suddenly, because I don't see a Dub Skull. Oh, there was a Dub Skull. It was just I didn't notice it. Never mind. You're not ahead.
Here I am paused, thinking like, how did I get so ahead?
I was like waiting for the blitzer to stand up and blitz and get a double skull, but I just missed it.
Ball instead of I think he wants to take a 2-die on this ghoul.
He does. He tries to do so, and it doesn't work. Spoilers.
Pro has failed every single time this game.
Pro good skill.
Skill confirmed. Casual jump up 1-die. Jump up has been an absolute unit this game. Doesn't follow up for a 2-die from the ghoul. Instead takes a 1-die and rolls the skull.
Yeah, that may have been non-ideal. Professor Chaos down to 0 rerolls and on turn 15 though, so you know, we might not score, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. All you have to do is just not let the Necro score, and they're not going to at this point. So you know, a touchdown would be great for more SPP, but you don't really care
you can clear
that much.
Pretty easily though.
He can, but I'm saying you don't need to like risk it if you don't feel like you're safe doing so, because it doesn't matter. Armor break on the ghoul is a big deal because you can feel pretty safe in potatoing now without that movement on the field. And even if you do get sacked, that's kind of their only real option for scoring with movement. So like a slight potato is now pretty safe.
It's getting starchy in here.
So take off all your clothes.
No. Can't score on the thrower next turn because orc throwers are garbage. Has to hand off to more.
Well, that's kind of what they want anyway, really. Like, the orc throwers don't particularly care about SPP right now.
Throwers are garbage.
I mean, okay, yes, but they're on an orc team.
Don't try to knowledge bomb me.
I mean, if you like had a list of players ranked objectively, the orc thrower would not be very high compared to like a lot of other players.
Casual 1-die on the ball. Nope. Fails 2 out of 3 gems.
But I think they're mostly fine on an orc team, which is why
they serve their purpose. I just wait, what?
Vanity Pass.
What?
He's already winning.
Player doesn't need more levels.
He's already winning. It doesn't matter.
Why would you do a 2+? I mean, I know it's got a built-in reroll. Does it?
He's also got accurate. It's going to be a 2+ pass. It's adding a 1 in 36 chance to the process.
Yeah, that means 1 in 36 the time you don't get 3 SPP on your guy who would level. You don't want to level Morgrad.
Yeah.
It's fun, says Professor Chaos.
There you go.
You know what isn't fun? Losing. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. Whatever.
It's at 2+3+. It's fine.
Gets it.
What's the point of having an orc thrower if you're not going to throw? Come on.
To laugh at and never put on the field.
I mean, sure hands and being able to field 4 blitzers without having to dedicate one of them to ball carrying is certainly a useful thing. However, I mean,
you just build your own thrower. Like,
if you get like Agi or something on a blitzer, you just take it and then you start carrying on them and you fire the thrower. But like until one of those things happens, you might as well just carry it on the thrower, I feel.
Oh, the wolves stay out. I was gonna say there was a. I mean, he does still have his Apo, so it's less of a big deal. But there was an argument to be made for not scoring there, so that the Necro don't get to LOS hit. But you've got linemen, so you're not really worried. And you still have an Apo even. So.
And you get to level your guard blitzer, which is pretty strong.
I mean, it was
argument.
definitely worth it, but it was like worth discussing.
Yeah, it's not definitely worth a thought.
Have a wolf. I lied. One of the wolves is back.
Definitely worth a thought, but I don't think it's you're too worried about taking 3 hits. I would
Technically speaking, these should be 1 square forward, but I don't think the Necro 1 turn is terribly likely. And even if they did it,
I mean, I think
it still wins.
This is less about 1 turn and more about player protection.
I mean, 1 square forward is also out of range of a blitz, so
that's true, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think you're particularly worried about 3 rando line orcs taking some blocks.
One of Azaf has a level. I think several of them actually are leveled. 2 of them are, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, if they survive, great. If not, well, whatever. Orcs are cheap.
He's actually trying to level up the blockless Garter. I think that makes sense. Pylon. I love the white pylon animation.
It's pretty good. I want to see it. That zombie is 1 SPP away from leveling. He could vanity pass.
Vanity ass.
Zombie vanity pass. Do it.
0 reroll. 4+3+. 4+4+3+.
He tried.
He definitely tried.
He's a good receiver. Agi blitzers are but the thing is, you also got Agi like late, right?
Oh god, that might be the saddest MVP I've ever seen.
Like when he already had tackle, strength, mighty blow, and guard, you don't start carrying on him now that he has Agi. If you roll Agi like 1st or 2nd, then you switch to like ball carrying on him, but you don't want it based on the skills he's got.
He can be a catcher. I don't think you make him.
No, but if you roll Agi like 1st or 2nd, you just switch over to carrying on the blitzer instead, because they have block and movement 6 and armor 9.
And general access, they're a good choice in overall.
Yeah. But that was a pretty good game from or to watch, I guess. I thought it was.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we looked at the block numbers before, because there was a boatload of blocks in this game. 70. We looked at them before and saw 2-0 and 70 blocks and thought like, well, this is just going to be an absolute like slugfest, and it's not going to be that interesting to watch. But there were certainly a lot of talking points that we had during that match, so I'm pleased that we watched it. There were a lot of things to talk about, and it was good, I think, and useful. So yeah, what do we want to do? Do you want to go to Div 1 or 2?
Let's go back to Div 1 and look at the schedule in more detail. I'm going to use the washroom real quick and grab another beer, but I will join.
Sure. So I guess it was worth noting that in that match, I believe we predicted that the Necro were going to win, and we were both wrong. So well done, Professor Chaos. So now back in Div 1. This first match, we have Scooby and the gang and Fear and Bloating. We both predicted the Necro to take this over the Nurgle, and we were right with a 1-0 victory. Although the Beast getting MVP, which is kind of nice. Zombie getting MVP and leveling when he already has a wrestle kick is kind of terrible. Because what are you going to do with him? Like, fire him? He's not good. He's not a good zombie anymore. The level is pretty bad. 19 armor breaks, 10 armor breaks. 42 blocks, 38 blocks. 4 KOs sustained, 3 casualties sustained, 6 KOs and 3 casualties sustained. So the Nurgle just got out removed, which is certainly a thing that Necro can do if they have the right players. If the Nurgle aren't playing safe, and the Necro can get a removal a turn with their assassin blitzes, they can get some good removals, and it looked like it worked out. And once you get a couple key removals, you can snowball really hard against a Nurgle team. So I feel like that's probably what happened, and we had a lot of waiting around in stalling before we score. Bend 8 versus 11 for Nurgle. Oh, that's surprising. Kick is good, and it's a good place to have it on the zombie. Depends on inducements. I mean, yeah, Fend is pretty reasonable because he's going to be he can be an LOS. Well, no, he can't. He's got kick. That's interesting. But yeah, I guess it depends on inducements. Might as well wait to see what your next match is going to look like before you decide anything there. First half was one-sided. Well, okay, that makes sense. First half one-sided, and then either stopping the Nurgle from scoring or scoring, and then doing the opposite in the second half. Yeah, 0% KOs, non-ideal. And they got 83%. Yeah, lucky on the part of the Nurgle. So well done to Travel Scrabble for winning that, certainly. You got more removals, but the removals all came back for the Nurgle, and that didn't come back for the Necro. So well done there. Exactly even on regen. That's nice to see. Grungy Desserts and Rebellious Scions. Let's see. We both predicted that the Nurgle would win this, and it was a tie, so no points there. Let's see. Rudder. I love the uniforms. I think I say that every time, but I love these uniforms. Aestheticus has. They look really cool. 2-2, kind of irrelevant / bad MVPs on both sides. 31 blocks, 33 blocks. The elves actually outblocking the Nurgle, which is a little surprising. The Marvel 313 and Merrick ABAO. I sorry I didn't notice your follow earlier, but welcome along. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that can happen sometimes, especially against Dark Elves, when you just throw yourselves at them in an attempt to lock them down as a bash team, and then they either dodge out when they have to, or they take the blocks that they can get. And sometimes against slower teams, your faster positionals will be placed in a position where they can be blocked. So,
well, the Nurgle got out blocked by the Dark Elves, which is not that common, but it certainly can happen. One death.
You talked about the Travel Scrabble game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and how we were correct. So you might want to mark that one down. Then we had, apparently the first half for the Travel Scrabble game was very one-sided for Travel Scrabble, and then the second half, he was down players. But that's because the Nurgle made 5 of 6 KO rolls, and Travel Scrabble failed 0 of 4, or made 0 of 4. It was pretty bad. The Dark Elves getting out-removed, certainly, which is kind of what you expect in this type of matchup. 2-2 draw is surprising, because that means the Nurgle had to score twice, which is not necessarily a thing that happens often. You don't see that high a scoreline in Nurgle games very frequently.
A lot of SPP for the Dark Elves.
Passes
11, 16, 18, 19, 21. Nurgle only getting 14 with the same result. I guess because the Dark Elves actually inflicted a lot of casualties from blocks 3.
There's also 5 attempted passes for the Dark Elves, and they made 4 of them, so that's an extra 4 SPP.
Yep, that'll do it.
Lightning Bolt failed during this game, which is not a thing that you like to see sometimes.
Might be why it was 2-2.
Very potentially. It very could have easily been 2-1 if the Lightning Bolt went the other way.
Then we have Archangel's Will versus Khemri Do It. Yes, we can. We thought about watching this one, but we watched McMacky last round. And I think we even watched Archangel before. So while this is a really important match, we just
There's another important one in Zeazetta, so it was kind of a tie, and the tiebreaker was we've already watched McMacky, so.
Yep. Good amount of blocks from the Wood Elves. They did 26 total blocks, getting 2 armor breaks against Khemri. 2 armor breaks, with most of their positions being AV7. or most of their linos, I should say.
Well, all of their linos.
All of their linos, and the two armor breaks not getting anything done there. So the Wood Elves definitely did not have the punch game. The Khemri, on the other hand, did not have that problem. 39 blocks succeeded, resulting in 7 removals from the blocks themselves.
5 KOs and 3 casualties.
Fouls, fouls or failed dodges, or
one of them being a death. I hope it was just a loner and we didn't lose one of the few important players on that team, but we won't be able to see that until next week.
Yep, Eldril not really doing a lot of hypno-gazing, failing 60% of them.
Yeah.
Do we have any loner rolls? We do not. So he never tried to re-roll it. That's just 5 individual hypno-gazes. That's 4 more than Eldril normally.
That's an the dice spread for McMacky is certainly interesting on the D6s. I mean, it's one of those bash games where you never have to do anything because all you're doing is punching, so there are very few D6s. But he rolled 17 2s, 13 1s, and then 2 6s and 6 5s.
Yeah, well, look at pickup. Pickup explains a lot of that.
Yep. Well, I mean, it doesn't explain them. I mean, that's where a lot of those 1s and 2s went. Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like this very well may explain the tie as well. When you get 11% pickup attempts, even on a team that is Agi 2, you expect to do better than 11%.
Yeah, and I know that Archangel failed some contentious stuff. His dice look pretty average, looking at it, other than the hypnotic gaze. But I think that I heard rather that Archangel failed something that was very important and also was definitely a contentious choice.
There was a pickup that failed, but I mean, when you only roll 3, it's kind of hard to get a good statistic there.
50% GFI fail, sure, but he rolled 4.
Yeah, they're not really high enough to get the sort of regular variance.
Yeah, small sample size, and as they say.
That's the word I was looking for. His block dice were kind of bad, though. A lot of both downs and skulls compared to other things. Very weird dice spread on both sides.
Block dice were great.
Well, depending on how many players on the other team had dodge and how many of your players had tackle.
No, so Archangel's block dice were terrible,
yeah.
Which explains probably the no breaks. He got 12 total knockdowns, assuming block, compared to 19. I see. Let's see. Let's count them. One dub skull, 1 1 and 9. 2 dub skull, 3 dub skull, 2 1 and 9s. Yeah. So he rolled 26 blocks, and he dub skulled 3 times in 1 and 9.
Yeah, kind of unlucky on both sides, but in different ways. Block dice were garbage for Archangel. The pickup and GFI dice were bad for the skeletons. Weird game. This would have been interesting to watch, actually.
This is one we definitely wanted to, but it's not quite close enough to playoffs for us to be fuck it, we're watching someone we literally watched last round. So
then Battle Brothers versus Grody Greens, we had predicted. I predicted the Bretts, and you predicted the Nurgle. So this is a point for you. 1-0. Dolfar Longstride being picked up, which is interesting. You don't see that very often, especially not for Bretts. I think it makes sense for how Agi based that Brett team was. I think we said it when we were predicting this that he had to play the Agi game because he was missing a couple of players, especially the guard on the blockers. So
but Dolfar does so many. Dolfar just doesn't do anything.
He's an Agi 4 receiver.
He's got a lot of really fucking weird skills.
Well, for one, it's kick, which is a big thing. It's a good way to get kick. The kickoff return is kind of irrelevant. Pass block is pretty irrelevant, but the diving catch and the Hail Mary pass are not irrelevant against Nurgle, especially when you're Agi 4. Right? Imagine you get that random sack, throw in that Agi 4, scoop up the ball, Hail Mary pass to the other side. You're not scoring anymore, Nurgle. Goodbye. Right? Maybe
that's what happens. It looks like the Nurgle got a ton of blocks, but not a lot of damage. They got a lot of removals, but not necessarily a lot of damage.
9 KOs and a casualty. Yeah, that's a lot of removals. I think that'll come down to the KO rolls for the Battle Brothers, and they made 7 and failed 6. So
Dolfar costs the exact same as a Merc with kick. A Merc what? Wood Elf line? Does it cost the same as a peasant with kick? I think the answer to that is no.
A peasant merc with kick is what? I never remember the merc skills.
50k, isn't it?
Well, a peasant costs 40, but I don't remember.
No, I mean, there's the merc tax is...
What's the merc taxes, though? Is it like 20? I don't remember how mercs work.
Yeah, well, it's never going to matter for you, you're Nurgle.
No, it's not.
Technically could matter for me, but I'm Chaos, so it doesn't really matter for me either.
Because it's like, well, there's the 20, it's 50k for the skill, I think, right? Just period, but then it's also like a merc costs more than just a normal lineman does.
Yeah, so a merc
peasant with kick is 110. There you go.
Anyway, whatever. We've dwelled.
Dwelled. No, we're not done dwelling. I want to see how much... Dolfar is 150, and a merc peasant with kick is 120, right? So, like, it's 30k for Agi 4 and more movement. Like, yeah.
No, it doesn't seem worth it to me.
Okay, sure. You're wrong.
Cast block is negative skill energy.
Skill energy, not value, though. I mean, 30k for 2 Agi and a bunch of higher movement and some other skills. Yeah, I think it's totally worth it. If that's the thing that you think is relevant for the matchup. Let's see. What else is there to talk about here? I mean, hey, two successful catches.
His block dice were pretty garbage.
The tentacles weren't great, but
The Grow to Greens had good block dice, actually.
yeah, there's a lot of stumbles, but
That's probably good enough. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of dodge on the...
There are on all the blitzers, which are the important players, but turns out you also can just remove other players, and then when there's only blitzers left, it's still hard to do things as Bretonnians.
Yeah.
Fireball was used, and 1 success and 4 failures, showing why we don't fireball.
Yikes. I was watching Sage the other day, and he managed to get... It was like a 6-man attrition fireball. Not even attrition, I think the ball was in there. And I like goaded him into using it. And I was like, I hate fireballs, but that's a pretty good fireball. He was like, I know, right? And then he threw it and got like 1 out of 6. And I was like,
nice.
Thank you for like paying the price of
memory,
like for reminding me that I hate fireballs.
Oh man, like for someone who hates fireballs, I sure do fireball a lot. Mostly because they're fun. You know? But so like 3 pickups for Battle Brothers that all succeeded and 3 pickups for the Nurgle that all succeeded, and it being a 1-0 game kind of points to a lot of sacks, a lot of the ball being on the ground, and kind of a fighty game until one person managed to gain control of the game and push out that 1-0 win. But 6 pickups for 1 touchdown is quite a ratio.
Yep, it is indeed.
Not an anime sports team and the Pantheon Passers. We both predicted Tself here, and he took that one 3-2.
RXL did not have a team, and predictably gets an injured loner MVP, who he did not pick up. Actually, out armor broke the Pantheon Passers. Didn't out block them, but out armor broke them. I guess that makes sense. They are AV8.
Yeah. But
did not get anywhere for it. 14 armor breaks, gets 3 KOs.
Whereas they sustained 4 casualties and 3 KOs from 34.
That's some elf math, if I've ever seen it.
I like how there were 9 armor breaks from Tself, and there were 7 KOs or injuries on the
there were 6
team.
removals from 9 armor breaks on the blocks.
Yep.
So Tself dicing poor RXL with his no team and still only winning by 1. Now you know why we don't predict you win things.
But I mean, in an elf matchup where both teams are going to elf at each other, the player with better elves are going to win, and RXL just didn't have any elves left, so that's pretty much why the player went
is he just going to see the shade? No, he is in chat. Good.
RXL or Tself?
Feel my score.
Tself is in chat.
Yeah, Tself is in chat. I don't know if he's like actually actively paying attention.
Probably not.
I think he was going to stream, but I'm not really sure what he's doing.
Nobody really pays attention to what I say.
These are just the ramblings of
Ace Trucking Co. and High Fivers.
We're not even going to look at the dice rolls.
Oh,
but yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Like the team with the better elves wins. Like spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, and the better removal dice, as we saw, like that's a big deal.
Yep. We predicted the Chorfs would win this game, and they did not. In fact, it was a tie. Both teams beating the crap out of each other, 22 breaks to 18.
Another fireball in that last game, actually.
Chorf getting the better end of the removals with 10 inflicted block removals versus 6, but still looks like a lot of removals on both sides.
Well, I mean, 7 casualties.
Removals. Yeah, high fivers sustaining 11. Depending, but remember the high fivers have regen, so
that's true.
This could be Al Bundy getting 9 SPP. A lot of that's going to be removals and such.
Exactly 50-50 regen, in fact.
Yeah, Ace Truck and Co. I mean, there was enough of a sample size, I suppose. Stupid regen saved Al Bundy from dead. Well, sometimes it's a good skill, it turns out.
Regen is good.
Until it's not. Yeah, interesting game. Looks like both players had fairly paper armor, though Ace Truck and Co. had significantly better.
Block dice were incredible for Ace Truck and Co.
Were they? Really? That just looks pretty average to me.
Yeah, I just saw a lot of POWs and then was like, wow, POWs, and then I forgot that there were actually a decent number of blocks. Now it's pretty
hyperbolic.
Well,
fake news, and I reject you.
13 skulls is pretty low, but when like almost all your blocks are 2 dice, it doesn't really matter.
Don't try to retroactively validate your stupid statements.
It wasn't
That's
necessarily
not
stupid.
what we're about, Ben. We stand by them and pretend they don't exist.
You
This
can't
is
do both
America.
of those. Well, I guess if this is America, you can do both of those.
A living contradiction is perfectly fine. So this is in America. So like really nothing I say is true. Yeah, I mean this looks like they just beat the shit out of each other.
I mean,
forgot about the ball.
I mean,
And
pretty
both
much.
scored.
2 pickups on one side, 1 pickup on the other. Yeah, like they basically just picked up the ball, beat the shit out of each other, and then scored on each of their own drives. That seems about relevant. It's just like, yeah, I'll pick up the ball and punch you a little bit and then score, and then you pick up the ball and punch me a little bit and score. How's that sound? Good? Excellent. See you later. 1-1.
Yeah, and the Necro being on the worse end of the punching explains what it was only 1-1 instead of 2-1 for them. A lot of the times you'll
Pretty
see
much.
mutual destruction and then Necro wins the game because Necro has movement 8 pieces and most bash teams don't. So
Most of them. And by most of them, I mean all of them.
I mean there are movement 8 pieces on some bash teams. You just have to roll a lot of movement ups.
I mean, or bull centaurs, I guess, but I don't know
Bull
if that
centaurs
counts.
bull centaurs are question mark movement 9.
So that is a thing. Then we had Nurgle's FTDs and Ars Gotia, which we watched, so we don't need to look at that. But
it is worth noting that I predicted the Chaos would win, and I was correctamundo.
that is true. So after those games, that's the other div. In Div 2, they did the wrong thing and played a game already. In Div 1, this is what the leaderboard looks like currently. Travel Scrabble at the start with or at the top with 6 wins.
He's at the start of the leaderboard.
Yeah, it is the start.
Ben, are you tired?
Yes. And then Khemri do it, and McMacky are second, barely ahead of Zeazetta, both of them with 5 wins. Tself at 4 wins, and then a smattering of other amounts of wins. But nobody has not won yet. Everybody's got at least one.
Nobody has not won yet. Steakmittens, the motivational speaker. It's worth noting this is exactly as I predicted, except we need to erase Tself's name and just put in Archangel, which at this point is looking a little unlikely. No, it's actually not that bad.
And here is Draenar's handy dandy REBBL div predictor that he made. I have done something similar.
This is the fancy thing. You're like, instead of switching to a different window, I'm just going to overlay it on
Well,
Bloodbowl.
It wasn't fancy. I just wanted to make it so that I didn't have to switch scenes.
Right.
Because it would drop cameras, and it would drop the names, and it would drop the live logo and all that fun stuff if I decided to do it
So
in a
I
different
have
way.
Archangel predicted for 4th place, and he has a 7.6% chance of making it.
What I was going to say is that I've made similar things to this in the past, but just out of Excel spreadsheets. Draenor has done it in a very cool Java way that makes everything way more automatic. Has done some cool stuff with MajorByte to let you export schedules and matches to this to set it up for you. Monty Hall?
Monty, whatever. The random coin flips.
What
is that called?
Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo. And Monty Hall is something different. There's a famous problem. It's the Monty.
That's the 3 doors. 2 of them have goats.
In my defense, sort of related.
And no, it's and Monte Carlo isn't necessarily coin flips. It's normal distributions, but yeah. It turns out that when the average Blood Bowl game score is 1 or 2, it basically turns out to be a coin flip when you turn that into a normal distribution, but not quite. Anyway, this is what the div predictor that Draenor has put together is showing for Div 1. So we've got Travel Scrabble, Scooby and the gang up there. He's got a 92.33% chance to make playoffs, 4.69 to get to the Challengers Cup. So that is 40 or 97% to make it to the postseason somehow. So very likely.
He's the most likely to make it to Challengers Cup, which is what we both predicted. So, you predicted Tself would make the Challengers Cup, actually.
Yeah, and he's currently in that spot. He just isn't the most likely. He's more likely
to. He's in playoff condition.
Oh yes, that's true. Sorry, I was thinking of Div 2. I was thinking of Div 2.
You ain't fucking around.
The thing that I most want to point out is that Rebellious Scions is, are all these Rebellious Scions, High Fivers, Nurgles, FTDs, the teams at the bottom of the div still have a theoretical chance to make the playoffs. They are, with records of 1-1 and 5, they are still not mathematically eliminated, which shows you how much 4 playoff spots can do in terms of making the divs close and shaking up playoff positions. But
you must be fun at parties.
We have there's 3 teams here: Scooby and the gang, Can We Do It, Yes We Can, and Ars Gotia, that are not necessarily guaranteed, but very, very likely to go. It's incredibly unlikely that they don't finish in the top 4, or at least the top 5. So,
I mean, it's more likely than you quad sculling in any given block. I was gonna say in any given game, and then I'm like, no wait, that's false.
Yep, but so that's what this div looks like. I will put that away, and we can go look at div. We have to do predictions. So first we have Pantheon Passers versus Fear and Bloating. So we've got the Red Joker's Nurgle.
Tself's absurd 2000 TV with a bench pro elf team versus. So he's back to full strength. He's a little battered, certainly, but not too bad.
Oops, I backed up.
Versus who? Sorry, Red Joker?
Yes.
Red Joker, the TV underdog going into this game.
Which is never where you want to be as Nurgle. It turns out Nurgle
only
in this one
40k,
suck.
Which is a bad amount to be an underdog by. It must be sad.
I couldn't find Tself's team, and it's right beside.
He has 3 tackle. He's got a really good sacker. His ball carrier is okay, but not against...
I think that's the big question is Agi 5, Strength 4, Strip Ball, Wrestle, Dodge good enough to get the ball off the Nurgle at will?
Yeah.
Not quite, but not quite at will, but pretty damn good. And that's going to be the hardest problem.
He will not have a wizard, and I feel like he's gotten kind of used to wizards at this stage.
Oh, you've managed to build yourself up to 2000 TV. You don't get into wizard anymore, son.
Oh, doesn't he have a wizard stadium, though?
Does he?
No, he does not.
What does the Red Joker have?
Not a wizard stadium. That would be a weird choice for Nurgle.
He has a Magic Dome, which is also a bit of a weird choice, honestly.
No, I think Magic Dome is okay. Magic Dome for teams with trouble ball handling. I can dig. I mean, it means you get no rain, right?
Yeah, it's not wrong, but it's. I feel like the anti. I don't know. I feel like the anti Riot one is a bigger deal for Bash teams.
In an Eternal League, I agree. I actually took the Magic Dome in the Chaos Invitational Season 1 because I had been winning every game, so I had way more fan factor than everyone else. So on average, a pitch invasion favored me. So I reasoned the random weather events are probably more.
I think the when you play and you base your game plan around doing the sort of 2-1 grind in the Agi match, like in the Bash matchups, you're probably going to win as Nurgle. Like that's Nurgle do well there. And then in the Agi matchups, you're aiming for 2-1 grinds very frequently. And if you're like, cool, 2-1 grind, I scored second. Now my opponent has a 1-turn attempt. I'll set up to defend against the 1 turn, and then they roll a riot and have 2 turns, and then you lose.
Yeah, I know. Riots overwhelmingly favor faster teams. Because losing a turn hurts you when you're a pitch control team, and gaining a turn only helps you if you have a credible 2-turn threat. So also as Lizards, it turns out you do have credible 2-turn threats, so that was another argument for taking...
Oh, you were playing as Lizards. Well, that makes more sense.
Yeah, when I was doing it was the Chaos Invitational Season 1 when I was playing.
I mean, I'm talking sort of specifically from a Nurgle point of view here.
Yeah, I think from a Nurgle standpoint, you're right. The Pitch Invasion one is the best choice.
Anyway, predictions.
Tself wins, even though I hate him. I don't really hate him. But I didn't predict him for some reason. It's just like the utmost spite. But I was like, he has a great team and he's doing really well. Fuck you, you're not making playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Nurgle are going to need to get a boatload of removals to win. And it's certainly possible, but it has to happen. If it doesn't happen, they're not going to win. So I'm going to go with Tself.
They do have 3 Mighty Blow. 2 of which have tackles. That's not bad. If they can get Elvalon out early, that could be a big deal. Tself does have a bench of 1, I noticed.
We have the Grody Greens and the High Fivers.
Oh, the Nurgle can totally win.
They absolutely can.
The Nurgle are strongly unfavored. Nurgle always have a shot against Agi teams because foul appearance is the thing. Or not foul appearance. Disturbing presence makes things harder. But ultimately, this elf team is going to be really good at Tself getting named. Oh, by me? Yes. That's just that's just how this show goes.
We just sort of pick someone to hate on and then hate on them all season. It's important. No, I think it easily could go either way, but I think unless Red Joker gets lucky, it's probably more elf favored.
Agreed.
Then we have the Grody Greens and the High Fivers. So we've got Lazarus Diggs' Nurgle team has seen better days. We've got not enough players. We do have the best player in the history of the universe, though, in Yazov Mucus. So who knows what could happen. Missing a Nurgle warrior is a bit of a problem.
It is against...
and 2 Loner Rotters is going to put us at 1760. So the Necro, do they get inducements or are they down Rotters too?
Well, the Necro are down a Flesh Golem. They only have 1 going into this game, and they cannot afford to buy a new one.
They will get 50. They will get 50.
No,
the Necro will get 50k in inducements if that's relevant.
Not a really relevant number. I mean, you can get a Babe, and that's not bad, but I think this probably favors the Nurgle.
I mean, I don't know. The Nurgle don't have a whole lot of tools.
That's true. 1 Claw Mighty Blow, but Tetanus Timmy is pretty good. And of course, Yazov Mucus is incredibly hard for the Necro to deal with.
That's very true. If you can get Yazov Mucus in a good spot, then the Necro are going to be sad. But I mean, you say the Necro have Tetanus Timmy, but Al Bundy exists as well. Yeah, the lack of guard is certainly a problem. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Uber the Noober on this one. Make a contentious pick. I mean,
I don't know.
I think it depends pretty highly on what Yaza does, and you need to get him into a good spot. And if you can't, then you're probably not going to win.
Yeah, it's true. The other 2 elves in this division have been utterly decimated.
Khemri do it? Yes, we can. And Ars Gochias. This is an important match.
All right, I'll stick with Nurgle, but I'm actually thinking that maybe you're right.
This is an important match. Both top of the table teams, both at 5 wins. The winner gets quite a bit of an advantage over their opponent.
That is a big deal. Khemri tend to struggle against developed chaos. Is perhaps an understatement. though there's a lot of strength and a lot of guard and a lot of Mighty Blow if things don't immediately go their way, and Armor 8 versus Mighty Blow can be a problem.
That's true.
He is down a warrior, so he's only going to have... Zeazetta is only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 guard.
And 2 bench.
It's really going to be dependent on how the Claw Mighty Blow hits on the Tomb Guardians.
Yeah, this is another one of those games where it's flip the coin, see who goes first, and see how those initial line blocks go, really. Like, if you get a good first turn or a good first 2 turns on your offensive drive, you can pretty much decide the game for either team. So
Archangel, I didn't say your team was dead. I said it had been decimated, which I think is strictly speaking true. It's just also grown because Wood Elves.
Has it been defenestrated, though?
No, it hasn't been thrown out of a window.
Oh, okay.
ArchXL has just been straightforwardly destroyed. He had a really bad game.
Yeah, I think this could easily go either way, and it really depends on how the first few turns go. If one team gets early removals and the other team doesn't, that's pretty much going to be it. Honestly, both teams are going to be very good at doing that. I think I'm going to go... My gut says Zeazetta, so I'm going to have to... I'm going to go with my gut.
My gut also says Zeazetta, but this is too big of a match for us not to be contentious, and I got to back my second place pick, not my third place pick, so I'm going to pick McMacky. Though I honestly think it's probably like 55, 60-ish Zeazetta.
I mean, my McMacky is my first place pick, so I mean, but I think this is the one that
says a lot about your poor decision making.
I think this is going to be the one that probably the one that he's going to lose.
Also, I'm pretty sure I killed you this week, so I just need you to have the opportunity to catch up.
I mean, fair enough. Then we have Rebellious Scions and Nurgle's FTDs. So we've got one of the Nurgle teams, Highlord Salt's Nurgle team, and a Velociraptor's Dark Elves.
Velociraptor's team is looking pretty good. And it's facing, you said...
Highlord Salt's, the Nurgle FTDs. Sauce's team, yeah.
So he's going to have a wizard.
Yes.
Because he's got... Oh, wait, no. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players. Dark Elf linemen are incredibly expensive, so he's adding 140, so at 1,900 versus...
2,000.
2,000, so he only gets 100k. Unless he wants to spend some cash. He might spend some cash for a wizard, but he's not in a winning position on the leaderboard, so I don't think that makes sense.
Nope,
I think
I don't think so.
Commit to an Apo, maybe, to save a player. For a greedy one, so you don't just like have to let badly hurts go by on your best players. So it's worth noting. He only has 2 tackle, so Scrotus is really his only killing option.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, there's a ton of, like, dodgeless players on the Dark Elves, of course. There's, like, tons of dodge, of course, but there are a few Linos that will have to take the Claw Mighty Blow hits. I think this probably still goes the Nurgle way. It's not an unwinnable game for the Dark Elves. They do have some tools they can throw at this, but Wartigor is a really reliable ball carrier. Scrotus is a really reliable killer. The Nurgle warriors are real beastly.
Yeah, as a Nurgle coach that does badly against Agi teams, the Agi team that I'm least afraid of is Dark Elves. So I feel like I would agree with you into going with Nurgle here.
So there's a really active spin league, like the rookie league spin league coach named Archangel, and I actually thought that Archangel was Archangel for a long time, and we had some like issues with Archangel, and I think briefly banned him, and I was like, isn't that dude like wrecking it over in, like, I think I recapped for that guy over in REBBL, and I got very confused.
No, I've had that. I made the same mistake very briefly, but no, they're different people. Then we have Scooby and the Gang versus Ace Trucking Co. So we've got our first place Necro, and we've got the Chorfs. Kicks 96.
Really, Tself? I've been calling you out all stream, and that's what you replied. I'm convinced it's just your alt account to troll rookies. I'm on to you.
So we've got the Travel Scrabble, Scooby and the Gang, and we have the other team that I said that I don't remember now, the Chorfs. Kicks 96. Ooh, so the Chorfs are going to be missing a blocker, which is actually a pretty big deal.
And this is the #1 team. So
Yes. What does that do to TVs? 1920.
Oh, and it's even a Claw Mighty Blow blocker.
There is. Or yeah, it is. There are still okay, so there's no inducements coming out that way.
And appreciate that Mace, second son of Ace, has taken Dawn's.
So the Chorfs actually get 90k in inducements here, but that's not really that relevant. I mean, they scum a bribe, I guess, is a thing you do here.
Yeah, probably.
Yes. Well, okay. So there's a. Are you talking about what? Oh, the Hobgoblin. Yeah, the wrestle tackle frenzy.
Mace, second son of Ace, the MVP and mascot of Ace Truck & Co. The only one on this team who can do a goddamn 9-ball. It's garbage. Mace, second son of Ace. A+. Has taken Dauntless because he just needs to be like an absolute unit all of the time.
I'm surprised that was a dodge on Cinco. He like his first. He has Mighty Blow and Claw.
We've talked about this a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's not relevant. What do you think in terms of predictions? I mean, so the big thing is there's a lot of guard and they're Chorfs. You know, there's a bunch of guard stand firm, a bunch of guard Mighty Blow Claw Chorfs against the Necro, right? So if
the team playing against Travel Scrabble, I think Travel Scrabble is going to win.
I mean, okay, I agree with you, but I was going to maybe talk about it a bit more.
You're going to belabor the point.
Well, yeah, I was going to talk about how, yeah, the Chorfs are good, but the speed of the Necro is a big deal here. And Travel Scrabble still needs to reorder his goddamn team.
He knows it. He's sitting in chat. He hears us say it every week. He's doing it to fuck.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I think the movement, he's going to be able to walk away from those ghouls or from the blockers, and then the quality of the players he has, like with all the stats and stuff, are going to be pretty hard for the Hobgoblins and Bulls to do much on their own. So I think it's going to be Travel Scrabble. The Chorfs are, probably going to get removals, and I think a bribe is the way to go here. Just to see if you can remove a bunch of stuff. 9-ball needs to do some things.
Be a costly win. Remember last season when Superfed was staring down the barrel of like Orcs, Dwarves, and someone else, and we're like, we think he's gonna win, but they could be costly wins. This is like exactly that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Travel Scrabble's gonna win, but I would not be surprised if it hurt his team in order to do so. He could like most of the time win if he's willing to put his team in harm's way. If he plays more cautiously, maybe the Chaos Dwarves would be able to tie it or win it. But I think if Travel Scrabble wants to, he can win this one. We have Grungy Desserts and Not an Anime Sports Team. So we've got the other Nurgle team. This is Stouticus and ArchXL. How's ArchXL's team looking now?
It's not Stouticus. It's
Yes, it is.
Wait, no, it is Stouticus. Sorry, there's too many Nurgle. I'm not gonna lie. They all start to blend together.
The big thing is that ArchXL has his team back. For his last game, he had like 5 MNGs or something stupid, but he has the players back now.
He does. He is facing down Stouticus's incredibly developed, quite tackle frenzy happy team.
Yeah,
that's a pretty complete Nurgle team, I gotta say. Like, yeah, Angry Hero needs tentacles, but that's about it.
Can I have it?
It's even got 3 Rotters for the line. This is a pretty perfect team.
It's better than mine.
Like the movement busts and the agi bust on all apple pies.
I would like Claw on even Flan. And like then yes.
Yeah, Claw, Black Hole Sunday could use Tackle or Mighty Blow, but probably just Mighty Blow because he already got 4 Tackle. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good agi killing team too.
Yeah, the lot of Tackle is certainly going to do a thing. The movement 7 Frenzy block piece is Juggernaut is actually huge in this matchup. I think Donut in the hole is a big deal.
A wizard having elf team, and then they've got like a bunch of inducements on top of that. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they get 1 loner, and the loners are 70k. So he's at 1770 versus 2160. So he gets
400.
30 or 400?
Well, third 390.
Yes, math.
but I rounded to 400 because it's easier.
No, I for some reason I dropped 100. Don't worry about it. 390, so that's Wizard and a Big Star, probably. Can you do Eldril on High Elves? I think you can.
Eldril is 200k. Dolfar is 150. Prince Moranian is 230, which is probably the big one there, because he is Strength 4, Agi 4, Block, Dauntless, Tackle, Wrestle.
Dauntless and Strength 4.
Well, yeah, that's slightly less relevant, but he's a Strength 4, Agi 4 elf with Wrestle, Tackle, and Block, actually, which is kind of weird.
He's Wrestle and Block?
Yep.
Nice.
There's also Soren Hightower is another player, but I mean, you basically have him in absolutely not air gear. Soren is a slightly better thrower with having strong arm. That's not a thing this team really needs. What are we going to say on this one? I feel like the tackle of the Nurgle are going to be useful enough to put this in the hands of the Nurgle team. And Stouticus.
I'm not ever willing to count out an elf team with.
Neither am
wizard,
I, but I feel like it's. You think?
I think you're right. I said.
Oh, you cut off for the. You just went. I think. Yes, I know. Sometimes you do, but continue, please.
I've been known to dabble. And then Archangel's Will versus Battle Brothers.
Interesting.
You did. I think you're going to lose, but I don't think it's unwinnable. I think you've got a shot against the Nurgle, but the Nurgle are like pretty well equipped to beat up your Dark Elf boys.
Yeah, and Nurgle don't necessarily do super well against Agi teams, but the Agi team that they're sort of least afraid of dealing with is Dark Elves, I think. So it's not necessarily
they're bashier and slower generally. Yeah.
Archangel's Will and Battle Brothers. Interesting, certainly. We've got Archangel's team, who is Archangel and is ridiculous Wood Elves. Not as ridiculous as once were, but still certainly ridiculous enough to do things. And Battle Brothers was in trouble 2 weeks ago, but he should have most of his players back by now. The blockers have returned. You could afford to buy another one if he wants.
He probably wants. They're slow level. And another wrestle against elves is always nice.
I think that this is going to be interesting. So, like, Archangel has a lot of experience playing bash teams, and he's certainly good at playing against bash teams with his elves. But these Bretonnians are not really built as a bash team, but they're going to be able to do bashing, right? There's the Mighty Blow Tackle Blitzer. There's another Mighty Blow Blitzer. There's enough guard and wrestle to do things there and keep the ball relatively safe with the guard. But we've also got a bunch of like movement 7 Agi 4 blitzers that are going to be able to do elfy things.
There's a good amount of Mighty Blow too, because the blitzers have rolled doubles nicely. Melon Mounter being out is a big deal. He doesn't have the dirty player to get extra removals against the Wood Elves. The Wood Elves do not have a bench, so that's kind of their greatest weakness at the moment. He is going to have Strip Ball. Do the Bretonnians have Sure Hand?
Sure do, on an Agi Fend Blodge Step piece.
Yikes. Okay. That's going to complicate things somewhat. This is actually going to be a tough game for Archangel.
I think that's what I'm thinking. I mean, my thought. I'm going to predict Choleric for this one. I think it's slightly out of Archangel's general normal wheelhouse of murderating bash teams, because it's not really a bash team. I think it's
Dylvari can get a 1-die with a 3+ on the ball carrier most of the time, because there's not a ton of guard for Choleric, though he's got enough guard to put guard on the corners, I think.
I think a couple things. I think this Brett team is sort of uniquely good at playing other elf teams. They're speedy and elfy enough to keep up and do elf things with the elves, but they've also got enough, but better. They're this Brett team in particular. Basically is what I'm saying. I think Archangel in chat has summed it up pretty well in that if he doesn't get like the POWs / Kaz, he's probably not going to have a good time. A lot of the Bretonnians are Blodge Step. Archangel doesn't really have tackle. There's one? Yeah. It's not necessarily on the piece that he needs it to be on to do the well, that is on a leap piece, I guess, but
it's gonna be good for sack. It's the same problem I just played Dark Elves, where my only tackle was wrestle tackle because my killer was MNG'd or armor broken. And it just like sucks to be sitting there in a turn and trying to decide whether you want to like greed blitz with claw mighty blow or mighty blow in this case, or blitz with something that is likelier to get a knockdown, I should say. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for Archangel. I'm going to give it to the Battle Brothers. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. Battle Brothers.
Div
I
2?
don't think it's unwinnable, but it's going to be tough.
So Greenskin Brawlers versus Thick, Rich, and Creamy. We watched that one, so we don't need to look at that.
Right, we're not doing predictions yet.
The Secret of My Success and Cogs of War. Let's see. We had
the Orcs would win, and it was a tie.
Well,
we only have 5 predictions because we got screwed over by everyone playing early.
Everybody played on Wednesday. Like everybody played on Wednesday.
We predicted the High Elves would win, and the High Elves.
Are we not going to like talk about the game at all? We're just going to move to the next one.
It was Orcs versus Dwarves, and it was a 1-1 tie. Like, what the fuck is there to talk about?
I mean, 53 blocks, 48 blocks, 4 casualties, 2 casualties. Yeah.
The Dwarves got more removals for somehow. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I very much imagine this is exactly as you like 2 pickups for the Orcs, 2 pickups for the Dwarves. I imagine this is exactly as you expected. They both picked it up and scored on their drive, punching down the field, and then gave it to their opponent, who then did the same thing.
My brain was just like, that game didn't happen. Just like moved on immediately.
Oh boy.
It looks like the Secret of My Success had some bad blocking dice, maybe, that didn't really work out for them. But...
Okay, now we can look at the Oath Blow and Fethwick Codadal. Felwith's Codadal.
Felwith Codadal out bashing the Norse. I mean, I guess that's not surprising. They have like a pretty developed team. Not out punching, but out armor breaking. I guess they're armor 8, yeah, so that's also not surprising. But almost pitch clearing the Norse on 21 breaks, getting 4 KOs and 6 injuries. It's not that ridiculous. Sustaining a bit of damage on their own side, but definitely getting the better end of the punching game here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
a really, really punchy game, actually.
Yeah, for elves performing 46 blocks and receiving 57. Like these are bash matchup numbers. Like these guys just slammed into each other and fought instead of doing elf things. But it worked out. I mean, the 1-2-0 they got more, or 2-1 they got more removals. Armor doing pretty well, I guess. Seems that way.
Yeah, Oath Blows blocking dice were a little pushy. Felwith Codadals were really, really scully. Like 27 skulls to 26 pushes.
More skulls than pushes.
So like they were either knocking someone over with the defender stumbles or they were dub sculling. Let's see. There are 2 dub skulls on the first page. So 1, 2. Alright, it might have just been that. Might have just 3. 3 dub skulls and a 1 and 9.
There's also a skull pow on a 3-die block, so or skull stumbles. So almost it would have been a dub skull if you didn't make it a 3-die.
That's true. That is how dice work.
It is.
Yeah, so it looks like the elves just kind of dominated on the punching side and possessed the ball more and managed to score twice. Well, really big SPP game for the elves.
If you get out removed by elves, you're gonna lose.
27 SPP for the elves.
It's pretty much all there is to it, really. If you get out removed by elves, you're going to lose because the elves are better players than you. They're generally faster and more agile.
The Norse are down to 1250 after that game.
Ouch.
Strength bust on their second inferior thrower. Armor bust on... Or no, movement bust on their armor broken berserk. Is this a niggle? No, Jesus Christ. Agi bust on their plus Agi berserk. And a MNG on the dirty player tackle piece.
I think the big problem is that their next game is going to involve 0 berserkers and 1 ulf.
Yeah, versus orcs. Like, they're going to get the shit kicked out of them.
Let's continue. Rowdy Rebel Rousers and Fogmire Fenbeasts. We had that had already played, I believe, so we didn't have a prediction for this one.
We do not.
But unfortunately, Puff the Legendsaurus takes MVP.
Puff the Legendsaurus.
Lived by the sea.
Tickles my fancy.
And an injured Rotter picked up MVP. No one cares.
The double MNG Rotter picked up an MVP.
Misses 2 games. That's not how that works.
Looks like the Nurgle just removed the Lizards. They got 19 breaks into 7 Kaz.
Welcome to Nurgle versus Lizards.
Easy game.
They are going to remove Saurus and win games.
The Frenzy Lizards could not pull this one out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's Nurgle at high TV are...
All right, don't flip to the Fogmire Fen Beast dice rolls. What would you guess their foul appearance was at?
Well, in my experience, 100%, because it never works.
58%.
Oh, good lord.
They made 17 foul appearance rolls, and they failed 7 of them.
That's ridiculous.
Oof. It's a big oof for me, dog.
That is a big oof. Failed 2 pickups is non-ideal. Failed 2 catches. 50% on KOs is, expected.
My partners have been doodling in my
armor not great
in my prediction book, so there's like a flower and a weird cat going on here next to my sweet predictions.
But I mean, yeah, if like high TV Nurgle are like their favorite matchup is Lizards, right? We're just like, we're gonna claw the Saurus and then you lose. So that's not entirely unexpected, especially when the Saurus were incapable of hitting back with that many foul appearance rolls. So I mean, well done, well played to Atomex, but that was going to be really hard for Fogmire Fenbeast, I think, especially when the dice on the foul appearance looked that way. But man, that has got to feel good as a Nurgle coach watching like the Lizards just fail foul appearance after foul appearance. I would be laughing my ass off in like a high-pitched, like small child laugh while being barely able to retain seat in my chair because I'd be so like amused at how bad things are going for my opponent.
Well, we predicted something like 5 minutes ago and we're already wrong. ArchXL pulling out a 2-0 win over Stouticus, who couldn't quite cause the damage he needed. To be fair, another one of these fucking elf games where the opposing team got 14 breaks and 4...
What do you... ArchXL just played, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he did.
Ooh, well, we'll see that next week, I guess. But
unkillable elves is a problem that Bash Dukes have sometimes.
Reality Kings and the Cantankerous Creations. We didn't get to predict this one either because Superfed hates us and plays all of his games on like Wednesday morning.
He hasn't played his game yet.
Ooh.
It's worth noting. We get to predict his game versus Jimmy. I assume that's Jimmy's fault, and I applaud him.
I feel like if Superfed had the choice, he'd play his games like Tuesday night before divs were rolled or something, just to like screw with people. And then demand they get played in like 15 seconds. 15-second turns. Like the moment the div rolls, let's go. I need my REBBL experience to be over as soon as possible.
Can't be cursed. So yeah, looks like a bad game for RK. Kind of got the crap kicked out of them by Lizards. Lizards are a tough matchup for a team like Superfeds. Like, they just have the strength to kind of negate a lot of the guard advantage. Though also, yeah, it looks like Superfed just got straightforwardly diced on removals.
Nine KOs, 6 casualties,
19 breaks. It looks like he just like every block was a break. And every break was a removal.
Well, so. I think we can sum up the entire story of this game with this one line right here. Leap. 7 successes, 3 failures. That is 10 total leaps. Look at every other game Superfed has ever played. There's never more than like 1 or 2 leaps. He only ever leaps if he has to. And if it's like a desperate thing, like, well, I've got a leap or this isn't going to work. Like the leap is always a last resort thing for him. He plays it like a wizard, right? The threat of a leap is often more important than the actual leap. And the fact that he rolled 10 in that game is a pretty big indication of how well things are going for him for most of it, I think. But yeah, having to 57% KOs or is above average, but I mean, that's still 8 successes and 6 failures. At most points, he just didn't have players on the pitch.
Look, man, if you're making 14 KO rolls in a game, you're losing that game.
Yeah, I think that basically explains it in a better way. Rats Against Teen Stars and Fallen Wonders. Did we get to predict this one?
We did. We predicted the Zons would win, and Razzlestorm agreed with us, and then he went and fucking won anyway.
Good job, Razzlestorm. Thanks for that. Appreciate you screwing up our predictions.
It does look cooler. Always leap
when you could dodge because you can choose which square you leap.
My favorite bit about this is that he had 37. He had less ball possession than the Amazons, but
And you won 3-0. That's just rat things.
yeah, 3-1, just rat things. But I mean, 3 passes, 3 catches. I would be like incredibly surprised if this wasn't like 3-2 turns with just like throwers hucking it to gutter runners, then gutter runners scoring.
Yeah, it looks like. Wait, who had the fireball? Razastorm. Is this? Do you roll your own fireball checks?
I don't know. The dice logs are so bad. That I don't know who has to roll those. So he rolled his.
You fireballed and you got 3 knockdowns out of 4.
Yeah.
Or okay, no.
No.
He fireballed and he got 3 knockdowns out of 4 and still lost 3-1.
Yep.
All right.
But I mean, I think
Well played, I guess. I don't know what happened, but
I mean, the rats only had to make 8 dodges, and one of them failed. And would be very surprised if that wasn't from a gutter runner, and he just rerolled the dodge.
would you like to guess how often Fall made his armor rolls? Yeah, he got
38% of the time.
Yeah, 38.
Ouch. That's
that
really
might have
bad.
something to do. Yep.
Oh man, so the number of removals, I guess, 6 KOs and 2 casualties sustained for the Amazons. Being down players against the rats is not how you want to be. And the rats also, I imagine, 2 or 3 turned like pretty easily every time they wanted to make it 3-1. Not great for the Amazons. Rats taking that one down.
Yep. I was like, oh, the Amazons actually got pretty good blocking dice. They got 16 pows to 28 pushes. And then I looked at the front page and there are 3 double pows. I was like, oh, that probably accounts for most of that.
Yeah.
Yep. Then Murderer's Row versus Rouge's Gallery. I predicted the Necro and you predicted the Chorf. You were right. So never mind. You didn't actually crush, or I didn't crush you this week. It was me.
I read that backwards and I was about to be like, oh damn, you just ruined me. And every contentious pick I got screwed, but no, I got one at least. Yeah, that would have, if the Amazons are down 6 players in the first half, it's going to be a hard game.
In fact, we tied again because
Perfect.
I got 3 points and you got 1 in Div 1, and I got -2 points in Div 2A, and you got
0.
We're terrible at Div 2. We're great at Div 1.
Hooray! Well, I mean, yeah. And there was that one week where I lost a whole bunch of points because T-Steak did awful in Div 2.
Yeah, he really did.
So the Chorfs take this one down 2-1, 15 armor breaks to 8 off of 47 blocks. The Murderers are taking 4 casualties and 2 KOs versus no KOs but 3 casualties on the Chorf side. So close to similar number of
removals.
removals.
The Necro took a ton of damage, but enough maybe to make up for it. Oh, and they failed.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1 for 3 on, or 1 for 4 on regens is makes up for the low casualties on the Chorf perspective.
Worth
certainly.
noting, Rouge's Gallery
The bribe failed too.
has 2 touchdowns and 1 successful pickup, and no catches. Oh, I guess it must have been a touchback.
Yes,
Yeah, it must have been a touchback. I was like, that's not possible.
it is possible.
It is, but only with a touchback.
Yeah. Which is exactly how the Chorfs are okay with, or want to do that, because like, cool, we'll just give it to this bull. No need to roll more dice. Excellent.
I'm into this. Yeah.
I was gonna say another thing, but I don't remember what it was because we were talking about that. The bribe failed. The 1 pass failed. 1 for 4 on regens. Certainly not helping.
Oh, and Rouge's Gallery had like some hot blocking dice.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, a lot of pushes, but a lot of pals.
I mean, if you flip through the page, it's mostly pals. Yeah. It just looks like he powed him into next week. So yeah, that definitely explains a bit of that.
Yeah, and the failed regens and the failed bribe, not being able to keep anything back together. Yeah, Rouge's Gallery seems like they're in control for most of that one. Takes it down 2-1.
Yeah, there's not a lot the Murderer's Row could do. So yeah, that moves us on to next week.
That moves us on to the leaderboard. We've got Atomex and Superfed both tied.
Rouge's Gallery and Fogmire 5 and Beast have already played and gotten a 1-1 tie, so they've played extra.
So the top of the table, we've got Atomex and Superfed with 5-1-1 records, tied for those first two spots, and then competing for the other spots, Rolling Red and Jimmy Burrito with 4-1. Rolling Red has got an extra tie, which is why he's up there. So he should be below Jimmy Burrito as of this week. So, but still 4 wins. Jimmy Burrito also with 4. Fall also has 4, but none of the ties to bump up a couple extra points there, and the High Elves, with their only 1 loss, are remaining slightly above the Amazons due to that. We can pull up the div predictor thing again. Boop. There we go. So this is 2A.
Is it taking into account the fact that Rolling Red has already played?
Yes. Because I could have made take that not into account. But that would have involved downloading the schedule and editing it manually rather than just importing it from rebel.net, and I am lazy. So
Fair enough.
Nothing is totally locked up yet. Our highest chance to go to the playoffs is the Rowdy Rebel Rousers with 80%, and then an 80 or like a 90 or an 88% chance to be in the postseason in general.
That it thinks, Reality Kings is so much more likely to be in second than first. But that's a really significant gap. I wonder why.
It takes schedule into account.
Yeah, like tougher games, maybe.
Oh, it's or even not necessarily tougher games, but games against people that could influence the top of the table standings more, right? If all his matches were against people near the bottom, even if he lost, the 3-point swing wouldn't really change much. But if he loses against a team that's also in playoff contention, the 3-point swing changes things a lot. So it depends on what the schedule looks like.
So yeah, it looks more or less how we predicted. We both predicted Fed on top. I predicted Jimmy Burrito in second, which is now looking less likely, 12%. Your second place pick of Atomex is much better. My third place pick of Atomex is probably not going to work out. My fourth place pick of Professor Chaos, though. Where is Professor Chaos? Greenskin Brawlers. He's got a 10% chance to make fourth. Coming in from behind.
The thing that I find the most interesting about this is that in some of the other divisions, like the top 2 spots were like incredibly, like it was like 98% for in Div 1 for like the top team to make playoffs. And we have, we certainly got Rowdy Rebel Rousers and Reality Kings with really high % chances, but Quagmire Fen Beasts all the way down to like Rats Against Teen Stars are still all double-digit numbers of playoff % chances. And all the way down to Oathblow still are in the running. The only person mathematically eliminated currently, or at least not necessarily mathematically eliminated, because I did only do 10,000 sims here, but like incredibly unlikely is.
I think that's safe to say it's mathematically eliminated.
This is the highest percentage we've seen so far, though, which is kind of unfortunate.
What, 80%?
72.8% to come 14th place.
Oh yes, yeah, that is. That's fair.
But I do love that team, man. This is the Death Roller Dwarf team. This is the best.
It's got the great death. I mean, it's very much the Lazarus Diggs of this division. Like,
this is the best team.
Is amazing. The big guy is amazing, and the rest of the team is super mediocre.
This is my favorite team in the div. I don't care what the standings say. It looks like it'd be so much fun to play.
Yeah. Professor Chaos, that's just saying you can be the upsetter. You can.
And there's a couple of like interesting. The ordering is certainly a little weird here, right? It says like Fogmire Fenbeast is a 20% chance for playoffs, and Thick Rich and Creamy is 34%, and they're above it. But
that's because Fogmire Fenbeast has already played their game and gotten a draw this week.
Yeah,
I think that's why.
Oh yeah, probably.
So Fogmire Fenbeast is above them in the schedule, but has played more games, so it's taking that into account.
Right. But yeah, there's a lot of double-digit playoff chances here, right? Like all of these are 10 to 30 or so, rather than having it be like 90 and then a big fall off like we saw in the other div. So I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah. And I'll continue to do this as the week goes on. We can keep talking about it, at least until it becomes uninteresting. So I'll hide that again. And shall we predict things?
Yes, queen.
Greenskin Brawlers and Oathblow. Well, based on the state of that Norse team, it's I mean, they're going to be playing against Orcs with 1 Ulf and no Berserkers. That's pretty Orc favorite if I've ever seen one.
Rowdy Rebel Rousers versus The Secret of My Success. Probably going to be the top of the table Nurgle, or struggle in that matchup historically once the Nurgle are developed. Atomex's team is definitely develop at 2160. So there are only two Claw Mighty Blow. So it's not like
It is on strength
awful for the Nurgle, but it is on strength 4, so it's going to have an easy time getting Claw Mighty Blow hits on. Yeah, 700 800k in inducements is funny, but it's not going to like.
At some point, inducements don't become that are not as useful. I mean, cool. He's gonna get he can get ice pelts and Wilhelm and helmet, whatever. I mean, it's just yeah.
They do have diminishing returns beyond 150k.
I mean, to be fair, ice pelt
certain races.
Ice pelt would be pretty good, and so would Wilhelm. Strength 4 and strength 6 claw.
Strength 6 claw is cute, but it's still mostly just getting 2 dice, and even when it's getting pouts, it's getting stuns, and then it's armor 8, and it's just going to get punched by the orcs with their guard.
The strength 4 claw frenzy wrestle of Wilhelm would be pretty good, especially because of the movement 8. We'll do something.
Wilhelm is definitely like an auto pick. Wilhelm wizard. I mean, maybe
Zara?
ice pelt.
Zara's pretty good. Lodge strength 4, pretty good.
Yeah, but she's pretty expensive, isn't she? She's 250,
270. The other thing you could do is Boomer, because he's cheap as hell, and it's just another lineman you don't. It's a 60k line piece that you don't care about, right?
And it can throw bombs, which is actually pretty good against orcs. So I don't hate Boomer. We saw Norse teams use Boomer to great effect last season.
For the most part, people use him just as a cheap blocker, right? He's just AV9, yeah. He's 60k block AV9 thick skull. That's a thing that
Boomer's really good.
He's also secret weapon, though.
Yeah, but you take a bribe maybe. Because you're gonna be fouling anyway.
And I mean, literally, he's just cool. You put him on the line. He's a player you don't care about because he's a star player, and he's not likely to get removed. So there you go. If he gets to throw a bomb, great. That's a bonus. But that's not really what his job is.
I'd put him on the LOS on offense, and I would block away from him so you got no one in his little square, and then just throw a bomb
at the guy 1 square in front of him. Just
no, the rule of 5 setup way down the way.
Yeah, seems good. But yeah, there's a lot of options for inducements. We could talk all day about it, but I feel like they're not going to make up for the lack of players at some point.
So what do you think of Orcs versus Norse though, or Nurgle, I should say?
Yes, that is a thing that I have to do. So Atomex has the bunch of tentacles, which
and the orcs have piles and piles of guard and strength. 6 guard, a strength 5, a vampire, orc blitzer. They've got a lot of stuff, but I still think the Nurgle are going to be a big problem for the orcs.
I think Nurgle as well, but I don't think as strongly as you do. I think the bird, the Pestigore, is going to be a big deal here. The strength 4, agi 4 wrestle tackle is super annoying because he's going to be strength 5 on the blitz, and he can kind of get rid of whatever orc he really needs to. Because the big way that Nurgle are going to play this game in general is with the Claw Mighty Blow, sort of armor 9. Teams that rely on armor 9 can lose to Claw Mighty Blow if there's enough of it. But there isn't that Pestigore to do it at long range. They only have the movement 4 Nurgle warriors to do it, which might be a bit annoying to actually utilize. So I think I still want Nurgle, but I think it's a lot closer than maybe other matchups would be. Reality Kings and Thick, Rich, and Creamy. This is a big one. We've got a couple top of the table teams that we both predicted for playoffs. I think the big thing is what the state of Superfed's team is after the last game. It was mostly just KOs, if I recall correctly. Yeah, his team's fine. Never mind.
Yeah, so Thick, Rich, and Creamy. I mean, they've got the kill. They've got a bunch of Claw Mighty Blow tackle, but not a lot of defensive skills on those players. And Superfed is well equipped to deal with a base you and bash you sort of strategy that we saw Jimmy Burrito employ versus the Orcs. It's going to be more effective versus the Kislev. But Superfed is a great coach and has a good team for fending off other bash teams and other hybrid teams.
Yeah, he won't allow that very often. The only time you're going to be able to sort of do that sort of play is when you're on offense, and then Kislev are going to move away.
Yeah, so the Kislev, not aggressively, moderately outguard. They have 5 guard to 4 for the...
it's so hard to look at this team.
For the Kislev. The Kislev have less strength, of course, but a lot more options in terms of like mobility and sacking potential. I think Kislev probably take this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
2290 versus so Jimmy Burrito is going to have a wizard. He doesn't have the agi really to take advantage of it, but he does have the movement.
Can I just get like this out of the way
Agi
now?
vibe.
Like,
What?
Kislev is so hard to look at. There are 4 players with 4 starting skills, 4 players with 3 starting skills, and then all your linemen have 2 starting skills. It's so hard to look at how developed these things
What
are.
are you talking about?
It's so hard to look at this team and actually.
Don't Nurgle Warriors have 4?
No.
Nurgle's Rod, Foul Appearance, Disturbing Presence. So they only have 3?
Mm-hmm.
A regen.
4, yeah, they do. That's 4 players.
4. Yeah, with 4. Pestigor's
I guess it's like actually functionally equivalent.
Fuck you. That's what I'm getting at here.
I'm used to Nurgle. I'm not used to Kislev.
I think the Kislev are going to win. What do you think?
I said that a while ago, but yes, I agree.
All right, predict the next one. I'll be right back.
Rats against Teen Stars versus Cogs of War 4. Well, this is like the one matchup where this Death Roller is almost entirely irrelevant. I mean, he's going to get free 3-die blocks on the LOS against the Rats, but he's movement 4, and he is never going to catch up to any of the other Rat players ever again once he gets places. And as we've discussed, this team is basically the Death Roller. The like tackle spam is certainly good, but there's 1 Mighty Blow on this Longbeard, 1 Mighty Blow on this Troll Slayer, and that's the only way I think the Dwarves are going to be able to take this over some Skaven, is the Mighty Blow doing things. And with only 2, and both being on relatively slow players because they are Dorfs, it's going to be hard. I think on offense, there's not much the Rats are going to really be able to do. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Dwarves, really, because the Dwarves are going to just cage up and walk forward slowly, and the Rats won't be able to do anything other than like maybe Clawpalm Holland a Rat a turn, or Harry Styles a Dwarf a turn. And if they can get removals off that, that's certainly, you know, a win for them. I don't think they're going to have an easy time stopping the Dwarves from scoring, but I also don't think the Dwarves are going to be able to do anything to the Rats. No bribe for the Dwarves is a big deal.
Dwarves versus Rats.
Yeah, it's at the Rat Stadium, so the Dwarves don't get a bribe for their Death Roller, and like
Also, the Death Roller is pretty useless. Well, not useless against the Rats, but it's
pretty useless against the Rats.
Well, it lets you hit line rats. I mean, they're still IG3, right? You can just throw it on whatever group of line rats you can find. But yeah, I think this goes to the rats mostly. And they're missing a runner, so they have literally 11 players. If the Rats win the coin flip, they're just going to 2-turn, send off that Death Roller, and then be like, cool, you now have 10 players. Let's continue. That's literally what Rouse the Storm just said. Yeah. I mean, Rouse the Storm outnumbers the Dwarves, and he has 2 Claw Mighty Blow. This does not bode well for...
It's going to go to the Rats, but the one thing I will say is that the Rats, I think, are going to have a hard time. If the Dwarves go on offense first, I think the Rats are going to have a hard time stopping the Dwarves from scoring, and it's mostly just going to be about keeping your players alive, getting a couple free claw hits whenever you get a chance to, and then once it comes to the second half and they only have 10 players, then it's your chance to like run up the score and win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be I think this is a 2-1 grind game for the Rats, or it's a 1-0, 2-0 win game for the Rats. Like, it's not going to be like a Rat nonsense game unless the shit goes real seriously wrong. It's going to you stop the Dwarfs from scoring and you score on your own half and they can't counterscore, or it's going to be like you steal the ball because the Dwarves overextend and you 2-0 them. I mean, maybe you'll just pitch clear the Dwarves. I don't know. But like, it seems likely it's going to be like kind of one of those nitty-gritty sort of games.
I think it depends pretty strongly on who goes on offense first, but I think either way the Rats win. Just the way that you win is different in both of those cases.
Yep, and now a game that is currently ongoing. Fell with Codadal, who has got to be the top TV in the league right now. 2450 high. 2450
in REL or in the league?
In the league overall.
I wish there was like a way of seeing like teams sorted by TV on Rebel.net. But I think you're probably right. The only other one that I can think of.
I've never seen a team that wasn't custom higher than 2450.
Children of Ymir in FT's team in Big O was like 2500 for a while, but it's down to 2270 now. So
Rats? What? Oh, the next game? Oh,
Well,
Fell with Codadol versus the Murderous Row.
Mhm.
The Murderous Row get a ton of inducements, 500k. They have Agi Werewolves. They're going to have a Wizard. They're going to have a Bribe. They don't have a Dirty Player, so they're not going to have a Bribe. Oh, they do have a Dirty Player. It's just hiding. I like the Necro for this, I think.
do you?
But Fell with Codadol's like got a really good team. I don't know. It's hard to say. The Necro are going to have that bench.
I just have so little experience looking at elf teams that are this high TV with this many stats. Like, I have no context for how this game is going to play out because I don't know how to play a 1900 Necro versus a 2450 high elf team. Like, I just have no context. I've never seen that before. I can't wrap my mind around how this game would go in my head easily, so it's hard to predict. But I think the big thing for me is the one turner. The fact that the natural one turner exists makes the elves so difficult to deal with. And I feel like for that reason, I'll probably pick the elves. It is really like, this is a glass cannon team. We've talked about that before. Like, so many movement busts, so many agi busts and armor busts and stuff. Like, this team is one bad game away from collapsing, but until that point, it's got some gross things it can do. I think I'll go with the elves, just because I think the one turner is a thing that is going to be difficult to deal with. We have Fallen Wonders.
I'm checking to see if anyone is higher TV, and I haven't found anyone. So,
do you actually predict the Necro, or are you just saying I like the Necro?
Yeah, I'll pick the Necro. That's fine.
Cool.
I haven't seen anyone above 2300 in Div 1 and Div 2 of all the league, of all the entire league.
Well,
yeah, there's no one above 2300.
Fallen Wonders and Cantankerous Creations.
The closest person is the Children of Ymir. So
they were at 2500 at one point, so this isn't the highest we've ever seen, but it's the highest currently existing. So we've got Fallen Wonders, who's at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players, 10, 11, so that is going to put him at 1560. And against 1490 lizards, do they have loners? They certainly do. 2 skinks. Skinks are what, 60?
Yes.
So that's another 120, so 15, 16, 10. So the Amazons get inducements.
And the lizards only have
0 tackle.
Saurus. 5 Saurus, 0 tackle, and no Crocs.
Yep.
Gonna go with the Zons on this one. I don't know why. Something just tells me they got this one in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, this lizard team still, like, it's not in great shape, but it still can win games. Just because those skinks are pretty silly, but those skinks are almost entirely irrelevant in the Amazon matchup, and the Amazon's just going to leave from the Saurus, and the Saurus are not going to be able to do anything to stop that, and they're going to have a hard time knocking stuff down because the entire team has Blodge. And then there's some Agi 5 nonsense that can happen along with Agi 4 nonsense and a high movement thrower. Is that a plus movement bust thrower? That is. Rip.
We saw the movement bust, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, I mean, Amazons. I think that's going to go to Amazons pretty straightforwardly. Sorry, Basunda, but that's going to be a real hard matchup for you. You're not even getting inducements. Like, the Amazons are getting inducements. And so you can't get another Saurus out of it or anything.
Yeah, no, the Amazons should utterly steamroll that match. Like, there should be just nothing the Lizards can do.
If the Lizards get incredibly lucky and get some serious removals, they can win, but they're going to have to, like, have the dicing of their lives.
Yeah, they're going to have to roll a lot of power.
Well, and let's bring up the title page, because I believe that's that. We've taken a look at 1 and 2A, both the matches, predictions, and the leaderboards. Next week is week 9, where we'll be taking a look at the teams again. So we'll be watching matches again by the time we get to week 10, which is awful close to playoffs. So we'll definitely be picking teams that are sort of playoff contention there. And we'll continue to take a look at the division predictor thing that Draenor has put together, as long as the results are still interesting. Once it becomes like, cool, everything's mathematically solved, it's probably not great to continue staring at it for a while. But it's fun, and it's a really cool tool. I encourage you guys to check it out. It's real easy to use because of the REBBL.net export feature that was added by Draenor and MajorByte. And you can just find it on the subreddit somewhere. It's certainly pretty fun to play around with.
Also, Drenar is just a nice man.
Yeah.
He felt really bad about dicing me into the ground in Imperium.
I mean, I diced him into the ground in REL, and he was pretty pleased. Or not pleased, but he wasn't like salty or anything about it. He was a good dude.
I was way less gracious when I was dicing you into the ground in Imperium.
No, Drenar's a good dude, and I think the coolest thing about it, I think, is that there's a bunch of different prediction methods. You can have it be straight up coin flip. You can do like the Monte Carlo simulation, or you can do input manual match probabilities if you like want to actually go for some serious prediction power. So it's pretty cool. I'm done plugging now. We will be back next Thursday.
Are you doing the huge Jackman Cup?
Certainly am, but that's in 2 weeks. That's not this
You're
weekend.
on the 1st?
Yes, but this weekend
that
is
next week.
this weekend is
so
the
you mean like
25th.
a week and a day, but yeah.
Yes.
I forget that it's Thursday. It feels time has gotten real weird. I've been really busy at work, and this is a short week. For
Yeah,
us.
same. Both busy at
Oh,
work
right,
and a short
It's
week.
Victoria Day in the rest of Canada, and it's Patriots Day in Quebec.
Because you don't want to acknowledge the English in the French land.
That's 100% what's happening there.
Although, like, nobody in English Canada recognizes Victoria Day as the Queen's birthday. They recognize it as barbecue and cottage weekend.
Yeah.
We are done for this week. We will be back next Thursday for more Div Review things. But there's always more Steakmitten streams for various other Blood Bowl things. And not Blood Bowl things if you care about not Blood Bowl things. I know most of you don't. So until next Thursday, thanks for hanging out, everybody. We certainly appreciate it and enjoy all the love you guys give us. So until next time.
Don't tell me what I think and feel.
That's what I feel.
I appreciate nothing.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Give me the love. Tell Shadorra to fuck himself. How does that sound? Is that good?
To fuck him, your mic cut out in a opportune.
Oh, I said you can give me all the love and go tell Shadorra to fuck himself. Does that sound fair?
We know what you probably said, but that's not what it sounded like.
All right, thanks everybody. Until next Thursday, I've been Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.
And we will see you guys next time.